is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Lena's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard or call 234-254-8532.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
If I could be you.
And you could be me for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's time to kick back and listen to the Sports Page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning Sports Page, Pat Lucia. And I got Coach Bob Gessler filling in for Dave Clark here. Help us out today. Irish Mike's going to call in. We've got a lot to get to in the wonderful world of sports. Crazy week. We had baseball. We're going to talk some baseball today. We usually don't, but baseball's front and center. We'll get to those matchups. Also, this month, I believe it's October 24th, don't hold me to it, but the NBA is starting their season. And he laughs, I laugh. And this is the ironic part of the NBA. Of all the sports, you got 30 teams in the NBA. 20 of the 30 make the playoffs. That's 66% of your teams make it. More than any other sport, mind you. I did kind of a thing last night to kind of give you an idea. They're going to play 82 games, the NBA does. So they always complain that like the regular season doesn't mean anything. Well, they've almost set this up to make that a reality, because if 66% of your teams, that's 20 of the 30 teams, get into the playoffs, you're playing 82 games to basically eliminate 10 teams.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, too, is you and I know that historically there's at least 4 or maybe even 5 teams that aren't going to even be competing. Like, they're bad teams, they're rebuilding, they're got a bunch of younger guys, or they're poorly run teams, and they're going to be they're going to be bad because that's what they are. They're bad teams. So you really only have about 5 teams there that you're kind of saying, could they get in? And then the other thing, too, is the NBA historically is very chalky, meaning the playoffs are always very chalky. So bottom line is, when you have the NBA, they play 82 games to pretty much eliminate maybe 5 teams, 6 teams. Baseball, because this is going to be my bridgeway there, is bottom line is baseball is on now. They play 162. Their playoffs are upon us. To give you kind of a rough idea, baseball, there are 30 teams in baseball. 12 of the 30 make the playoffs. That's 40% of the teams that make the playoffs. At least what makes Major League Baseball kind of cool, I think, is it's not chalk. The teams get in the postseason. It's always a real crapshoot on who's going to win. It's kind of like a wide open deal where you can really never say there might be a favorite, but it seems like in baseball, the playoffs start, you get some great upsets, you get some great series. We saw it with the wild card that came this past week. A lot of tension, a lot of drama, and a lot of interesting games. We'll look at those games and those series and who advances. But at the end of the game, at least with baseball, you play the 162 games. NBA has 82. Baseball, at least you're not eliminating 5 teams. They actually are playing for 12 playoff spots and not 20. So at least Major League Baseball, the season might be a little longer, more games, is interesting. Bottom line, though, at least the playoffs in Major League Baseball, you've got a little bit more, I think a lot more drama, because it's not chalk. Strange things happen. The favorites sometimes lose. Now, last year, obviously, the Dodgers won. I believe they were the favorites getting in. The Yankees were probably the favorite getting in from the American League. But what was nice about baseball last year, you had the Yankees and the Dodgers, 2 big market teams getting into the World Series, creating a lot of juice, creating a lot of interest. So I don't think that was such a bad thing. Unfortunately, the Yankees didn't really show up. They got eliminated in 5 games. Could have been probably a good series. Aaron Boone, manager, we'll get into that. But bottom line, he seems to screw things up. However, he's not going anywhere, Yankee fans. I get into this a little bit. If George Steinbrenner, Hal's father, was the owner of the team, rest in peace, George Steinbrenner, he would have been through about 3 or 4 managers in the quote Aaron Boone era. Aaron Boone would probably make 1 or 2 years at best under George. However, Hal is the other end of the George Steinbrenner thing. Hal is 180 degrees from his father, George. Hal's keeping Aaron and Brian Cashman, the GM, who a lot of the fans don't like. Brian Cashman's been there forever, 25 years, I believe. Bottom line is, as long as Hal is running the Yankees, again, he's 180 degrees from his father, George. He's keeping Cashman. Cashman's keeping Boone because Boone does what Cashman tells him to do. So getting that off my chest, being the Yankee fan, but getting back to where we were talking about the Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball playoffs are so much better to me, NBA playoffs, because the NBA playoffs do have a tendency to do chalk. Now, this past year, though, I have to throw out the fact in the Eastern Conference, the Knicks upset Boston. Cleveland got upset. Cleveland and Boston were the 2 favorites going in. So you had Indiana in the finals. However, Indiana being a smaller market, and OK City, who was number 1 in the West, they won. They got in. They actually beat Indiana. It's just that with Indiana not being in a big market, the NBA ratings for the playoffs were not very good. They were average of best for the finals, so they didn't have the juice. But with baseball, if you have the Yankees and the Dodgers in, you're going to get big ratings. But with at least baseball, you have drama in the playoffs, and not all the favorites always win. NBA, historically, when you look at the playoffs, it's always the favorites win. They have a bracket, kind of a joke. But bottom line is you navigate through the NBA playoffs, it gets a little chalky. Major League Baseball is off the wall. I never know what to expect. You get weird upsets the year. It's been, since 2023 when Arizona and Texas got in to the playoffs. Now, granted, that doesn't create a lot of, quote, juice because they're smaller markets and people don't care. But from a pure baseball perspective and fan perspective, you got to kind of like the fact that the playoffs are basically crapshoot, carte blanche, drive you crazy. You don't know who's going to win.
Well, here's the other thing. I want to add something. Like high school, they went from 16 teams, now they bumped it down because all it was the money. So is that what happens in the NBA? It's all about the money because now the more games, the more pocket they get because of playoffs. So I believe it's all a bunch of crap because all they're doing is we want to get to where NFL is with all this money coming in, and it'll never happen. The sport isn't as popular, and you can't, you're putting 50, 60, 100,000 people in the stands, and that's what happened. Also, we're talking about failures and this and that with Cleveland and everything. Look what happened last year in the college. Look what happened when those number 1 teams sat out, then they had to come back and play. They got beat. So, I mean, you look at things now, and it's just a little bit different. Last year was a weird year. You have to believe that because, through high school, through college football and beyond, you're going, how did this happen? These teams that are supposed to be number 1 and ended up sitting, and they got beat.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's as a coach. When somebody said you had a bye, I hated it. Hated a bye. I want to keep my team going. You got to keep that momentum going.
You got the fire.
Repetition.
Keep it going.
And I don't care if you're a pro or you're a 7th and 8th grader. It's the same thing.
Yeah, so especially when you have the team playing well.
Yes.
And they're in the role and they've got the momentum. Like years ago, Major League Baseball went into that this is going to be interesting because this is, I believe, the 3rd year where they've got the teams that sat out, like the wild card teams played.
Yeah.
And you had the favorites sit out. Last year it didn't happen, but the year before, all the 1 seeds, all the ones that sat out lost. Especially baseball, is one of those sports you have to play it day in and day out.
Oh, I agree.
Man, you can lose your mojo.
Yeah,
you can lose the momentum when you sit out. Like it happened, I'll go back a few years now, but I remember St. Louis Cardinals played Detroit Tigers 2006 World Series. The Tigers blew through the AL, and then they had a rain delay, and so they sat out, and I believe, I'm not 100% sure, they sat, the Tigers didn't play for almost 10 days.
Yeah.
They got into the World Series against the Cardinals, and it was like, what happened to this team? It was like
they laid an egg.
Oh, totally. It was like they were a dead man walking. That the wheels had all come off, and it was like, well, what the heck happened to the Tigers? They had all that momentum, and they were just crushing all the teams in the American League. And then they got to the World Series, but they had such a layoff, and I believe there was a weather issue, so there was a couple of rain delays in there. And then when they got on the field, that was it. They were a shadow of a team that had played in the playoffs.
Yeah, and again, I can't speak for all coaches, but again, coaches might say, "Wow, I needed that week off to repair, get this one healthy, that one healthy." But it's still, I believe it takes you, like you say, your mojo. It takes your momentum. Yeah. You've got to be repetitious on everything. And when you have to go over air or you're going over your defense and you're not beating the heck out of each other, it's just going to happen. You can't bring a team in there before a national championship because you get that week off and say, okay, we're going to battle you out. You got to now go easy with your defense, and everything is half speed. You lose the speed of the game, and you lose that little bit, and it's not good for any sport. And until they realize that, I don't understand. I've never could understand why the week off. Like going into the Super Bowl, why are you doing that? You already have everything set. Why?
Yeah, that's strictly Super Bowl. All that is for that week, money, advertise, as we've always talked. We'll follow, like I always tell, like Irish Mike when they're moving. Notre Dame is playing a, quote, home game down in Texas.
Right.
Because it's Jerry World Stadium, and they're playing at some school, I know, like Texas A&M or somebody.
Right.
They're doing it. It's money. The school goes to Ireland to play. They're getting a bunch of money. Yeah. It's all money. Why is the NFL going over to Europe to play? Because obviously Roger wants to, quote, grow the brand in Europe, but he's also getting, and the owners, a boatload of money to do it. And you're gonna sadly see this trend. Maybe people get upset with it, but it's the future, because the NFL, if there's any money hungry person out there, they're all money. But Rodgers probably on the list is almost number one as far. But to his defense, he's doing what the owners tell him to do.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I mean, and he takes all the hit, and that's his job.
He could go overseas and get into a stadium that holds 150. Yeah. That same team might only hold 70. What's the Steelers hold? 60?
Yeah, maybe 60.
Okay, they go over there. There's 100,000 people that are buying tickets. And just like last week, all you saw was Steelers. Guess what? My man was frothing at the mouth going, buy that stuff because we're getting a cut. Well, we've got all these tickets, and these people, they like our football. What happened to NFL Europe? I used to watch it all the time.
And it was a good point.
It was a good game.
And they were talking a little bit about that. Brady Quinn was talking a lot about that on the show. He does it on the mornings with LeVar Arrington and Jonas Knox, talking about NFL Europe was really good.
Yeah.
It's just that the NFL didn't want to really put any more money into it. But he said it was realistically a good model, and it would have been successful had they stayed with it. But and he said it was, to your point, it was such a great model because they were getting the exposure to Europe, but you were really developing talent. Like Kurt Warner played in NFL Europe, and it was like their minor league, but you were developing some really great talent over there.
Was there maybe a little bit of jealousy that was taking off, and he thought maybe that they were going to take from the NFL? I mean, who knows? Look at the USFL or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Okay. Look what they have done. guys that when we went up to Fawcett, Tom Benson Stadium, the couple of guys that ran kicks back, they're playing for Dallas, they're playing for here. So they were able to pull from there. But over there, you had more teams. You had a bigger variety.
You did.
But the problem I still say was it was getting too popular. Oh, wait, we need to get more of this. We need to, get more of the money over there. So shut it down. Don't support it. Now we're bringing NFL teams.
But now we're bringing teams there anyway.
Exactly. What the Steelers drew in that one game might have been 3 games from NFL Europe.
Could have been.
And that maybe that's what he's looking at. But you see more and more. Well, the Browns are playing in Ireland
today. London.
Or London. But isn't that tomorrow?
London tomorrow at 9:30.
Yeah.
Do you get how many people are going to get up? We'll get to the games too. Since you're here, you can go ahead and give us maybe you could do better than Dave and I.
I doubt it.
Well, then we've told you. I said since Dave and I were 6-10 last week, a little bit better than the prior week, which is the awful dog disaster. And I call dog is because we want you to bring in those wild dogs of yours into the studio to help us do our picks because obviously we have problems. And the only thing we could rely on now is those 2 wild dogs that you bring in that come in here that we love to death, that go crazy. That's what we need to help us with our picks because we're beyond repair here. But the bottom line is, we open up, you talk about NFL Europe, it's true. You have that where now they're sending these teams over to Europe to play every Sunday. And you got to realize, too, and you mentioned this too, is people are not only buying the tickets and the concessions, which the NFL is getting a cut.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the jerseys and it's the merchandise. And they know that. They go, you flood those arenas to 180, 90, 100,000 people go into those arenas. And then, they're Europe. I got to buy that jersey. I'm going to buy that, So all of a sudden, they're buying jerseys and hats and, every trinkets, everything for mankind. And the NFL is going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
If you would have turned that game on, which I did, just for a minute, I was getting ready for church. I turned it on and I'm going, they're where? You would have thought they were at Three Rivers Stadium. It was amazing how they pushed the Steelers stuff, and all you saw was black and gold. It was incredible. They sold it, and they did a heck of a job.
They sure did.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always said, this show is like a door, like a maze of doors that open from the side you're on. It's an old Cat Stevens song.
Yep.
A lyric from that song, Sitting. But here's another little caveat, because then I kind of want to get into we'll get to the games, obviously, but 2 things that jump out at me today. I don't know if you've heard of this story, but the Big Ten is now discussing a $2 billion private capital deal. This came out a few days ago. Again, hats off to Brady Quinn, Jonas Knox, and LeVar Arrington. Brady was talking about it. He's got the law degree, very knowledgeable, knows kind of all that intricacies of contracts.
Sure.
But he had a lot of questions. But right up front, this is the Big Ten is in discussion about a private capital deal that would infuse at least $2 billion into the league and its schools. The discussions include a 10-year extension of the league's grant of rights until 2046, sources said. This would ensue long-term stability in the Big Ten. This would probably eliminate, we always talk about colleges going to like these 2 power conferences. Well, if they do this, the Big Ten's not going anywhere. I don't know if you're going to get 2 power conferences, but I know one thing. If there's power conferences, the Big Ten's going to be one. Because according to sources, the private capital deal and grant of rights extension have been discussed for months and presented in multiple forms. The deal and the grant of rights extension would also be a distinct blow to the outside entities of attempting to form super leagues around college sports. So you're not going to get super leagues because obviously the Big Ten now, if they do this deal, they're not going anywhere for a long time with all this money coming in. While there is support for nearly an entire league, according to sources, a few of the league's biggest brands, including Ohio State, Michigan, are still in discussions with the league. They aim to have unanimous support before a vote, sources say. Bottom line is, well, obviously the Big Ten and Michigan and even Penn, you want to throw Penn State, they're kind of the pillars of the league as far as merchandise, sales. I mean, Ohio State's almost in a league unto itself, and then Michigan and Penn State are behind them because the only national brand out there is Notre Dame. The second biggest brand in college is Ohio State.
Yeah.
And I don't know how big the gap is between Notre Dame and Ohio State. Maybe Irish Mike, when he calls in, he can tell us. I don't know. But the bottom line is what this basically means is they're going to try to spread all these teams like the Nebraskas, the Northwesterns of the world are going to be part of the big pie. And obviously they're thinking, hey, this is great. As long as UCLA, USC, that's why they got into the Big Ten. It was all because of money.
Oh,
and nothing to do with tradition and all this crap about, we're leaving the Pac-10. They don't care about, Pac-12 or Pac-10 or any tradition. They're looking for money. They need as much money as they can make. They jumped into the Big Ten because I believe they got something in the neighborhood of $60 million right up when they joined to get in the Big Ten network.
Right.
And now this is coming up. This is just going to give them more money and give all those other schools more money.
I know this sounds crazy, but do you ever see it splitting half the country and having just two superpowers going at it? Or maybe four?
Maybe four.
That's it.
Because we're almost at four.
We're almost at four right now.
Really, when you break it down, when you look at it, you have Big Ten, SEC, and then you have the Big 12 and the ACC. So you have four of them. The only thing you have is the SEC doesn't make, surprisingly, they don't make the money the Big Ten. The Big Ten, of all these conferences, the Big Ten, I think, is probably the one that makes the most money and has the highest popularity because just basically, I think you just have more people like Ohio State. I get into this conversation. 50,000 kids go there, give and take.
Well, the other thing, too, growing up, all you heard was, being from Ohio, we always watched Lindsey Nelson in the Notre Dame, but there was always Ohio State, Michigan, because that ruled up in our area. I mean, you just heard about them, and that was always a big thing. So the popularity has continued year after year after year and generations after generations now. Yeah, I mean, you see it, which is a good thing for football. But maybe somebody like a UCLA or a USC, I noticed there has slid a bit.
Yeah, it's probably true. UCLA's football has kind of dropped off as far as talent. However, they're still getting money from the Big Ten. They're obviously struggling. This is a bad year. They fired their coach, Deshaun Foster. Now, USC is obviously is in better condition as far as team goes. UCLA is going to be probably at the bottom of the pack as far as a team goes because they're just got problems with recruiting, and UCLA has always been struggling with that. And the money, they don't pay their coach. I mean, because it's a public university, there's always issues evidently with paying the coaches how much, and they've just been struggling. And sadly, UCLA, and it's bad. I always say this, if you're Big Ten, you want teams like a UCLA to be a good team because that makes the conference better.
Absolutely.
When those teams are bad, that doesn't help your conference. Like I always say, no, you want a Nebraska, you want those Illinois, you want the Indianas, you want those schools to be good teams and you want them to be very competitive because it makes the overall conference better. I know Buckeye fans love to blow these teams away, and they don't want teams to be as good as them. But no, you do, because at the end of the day, that makes the conference better. And in bottom line, obviously, you're going to get more teams with the bowls, but you're going to get more teams potentially in the 12-team playoff, which is probably going to get to 16 here very shortly.
Oh, it's going to.
So, yeah, because all of a sudden now, I thought it was funny that colleges always were resisting to the expansion of the playoffs. How long did it take to get to 4 teams?
Oh, I know.
It was like pulling teeth. And then once they figured, oh man, we could make a lot of money, it just
they don't skip a beat either.
No,
I don't understand that. What? Oh well, we're worried about their studies and Are you worried about their studies during the year? It's the same thing. What's the difference?
No,
you travel, you come back, you get in the classroom,
and they do it online.
Yeah, everything's online.
I'm not sure right now that they're really concerned. But that's a good point. You always talked about their studies and are these kids, and then that has got like years ago, remember they used to talk about remember kids had to be eligible to play?
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's like, what happened to that? Like, remember they needed to be eligible. They needed to have like a 2.0 GPA in order to be eligible to play. I mean, you don't even hear that anymore.
Well, at high school, they look at your classes, and I hate to say it, but it was a transfer from Liberty that went to the U, and then they basically tossed him because they said, well, we're done with you and your grades aren't good enough. And now he graduated from Cheney and he's trying to get in. That quarterback, he was a great quarterback, but unfortunately he couldn't even get into a Division III school because his grades weren't good enough. He didn't have the grades. He didn't have the grades to get in, but again, he had to now start all over. So he'll have to go to a junior college and try to get them grades up so he could get into at least a Division II, because I believe he could have been a Division II at least player. And that's sad for the kids.
But now you don't hear that anymore.
No, you don't. Absolutely you don't.
Even hear.
Why? Because it's all about the money. And that's so sad what it's come to. It is so commercialized. Now, you look at back when Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler and all those guys and all the Nebraska coach, you didn't hear about this stuff. You absolutely didn't. If you were, our connection was Bobby Mady. That's how a lot of those guys got into Pitt and Oklahoma, and that's okay. Right. They were good enough to play in that. Now it's just so changed.
Because obviously is the money has just like years, right? I went to Ohio State back in the 70s. Woody was the coach. But it was like I said, but they weren't on people don't realize.
No.
Ohio State was not on every week.
Right.
Because they could only be on 2 times. Usually it was Michigan and usually Michigan State. So that's the way they did it. But now we'll get into the whole streaming, Peacock, Netflix.
Oh, you don't want to go there.
First quarter in the books. We'll be back. We're going to 11 o'clock today, Saturday Morning Sports Page, back after a quick timeout.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
Saturday Morning Sports Page back at you. Pat Lucia, Coach Bob Gessler filling in for Dave Clark as we rocking and rolling today on a beautiful Saturday morning. We go to 11 o'clock today. Usually some noon. Today we'll go to 11. Obviously got the college games to talk about. Pro games are upon us. Now, some people don't think this is a great weekend for professional pro games. They think there's some, but you know what? I always say this really makes me laugh is because, especially the NFL, to me, the NFL always delivers. College is kind of iffy because you have some really where the matchups sometimes don't deliver but NFL, they'll say, well, the game matchups aren't that good. And then I look and then you watch the games and some of the games are just down to the last minute, overtime, whatever. Mm-hmm. The game, Thursday night game.
Yeah.
San Francisco, LA, the Rams, San Francisco was a mash unit. They had all these injuries. They were an 8.5-point underdog. I got that wrong. Dave Clark got that right. I took the Rams. Again, bring those dogs in for me. Bottom line is, that was a heck of a game. It went into overtime. The Rams won. McVay got a lot of criticism because they were saying, well, were you going to go for it on fourth down there? And then they ran a horrible play, lose the game. And they weren't going to kick the field goal to at least get a tie, and then the game keeps going.
Yeah.
Because you're in overtime, but you tie it.
Yeah.
Maybe you get a ball back, right. Yeah. But he went for it, and then he runs this absolutely dog-awful play. And it was like the guy didn't even get near like the line of scrimmage, and they lost. And they played. Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, no doubt about it. But the one that amazes me, and he continues to amaze me, is Mac Jones filled in for Brock Purdy. He really played a great game, and he was the one that got drafted by New England, Belichick. Belichick had Matt Patricia trying to be an offensive coordinator.
Doesn't work.
Mac Jones I know he was very disheartened by it, didn't play well in New England, and people thought he guy's a bust. Bounces around. He ends up with Kyle Shanahan, the quarterback whisperer, who has a great offensive scheme, and Mac Jones looks like the quarterback he was in Alabama in college.
But he fed to him what he is good at.
Right.
See, that's where I don't understand stuff. If just because if you have a team that comes in and they're good in the eye, well, I got news for you. I run the spread. And it just, you got to feed off what your players. I understand that it's NFL. You have your scheme. You have to learn it. But there's sometimes you got to bend a little bit to help. And I think that's what happened with Mac Jones. I think they said, okay, this is what you can do. We're gonna run that to help you. And I believe that's what happened.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is, I think they say he's a very smart kid.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the problem is you put him in New England, and you had Matt Patricia being the offensive coordinator. By far, Matt Patricia is a great defensive coordinator. You're seeing it with Ohio State. He's a genius with the defense. But putting him as an offense, it's like a fish out of water. And it's like I could see poor Mac Jones going, I don't think this guy knows what he's doing.
You know, it's funny because I was talking to somebody, Todd Smith, and we were talking about different things. If you look, because they laugh about all the head coaches for Cleveland, look at more than half of them were defensive coordinators that tried to be a head coach and run the offense. It doesn't work that way. As a head coach, if I'm a smart defense, I'm going to hire an offensive coordinator and say, here you go, baby.
A good one.
It's all yours. And that's what I see in a lot of that probably happened to him.
And that's exactly because he didn't have Josh McDaniels because McDaniels left.
Right.
He probably would have been pretty good had they kept McDaniels. But when Belichick made the guy, the defensive, when the Patricia, the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, it made no sense.
It made no sense, and he was out of his league. And then Mac Jones was struggling under Patricia because he probably figures this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and he was probably right. And then New England went, further down and slid down, and then Mac Jones got discouraged. And then one thing in the NFL is, if you know this, is they don't want quarterbacks like a young rookie telling them they're wrong. No. And then all of a sudden, Mac Jones was the guy that, well, you can't coach him. He doesn't have, he doesn't accept criticism, blah, blah, blah. Mac Jones is saying, no, I take criticism, but you have to know what you're doing, and I know you don't know what you're doing.
Well, again, it's all egos. I see that where coaches go in there and they just want to scrub house, and we're going to do this. If you don't have the players to do that, prime example on a defense, I'm going to run a 4-3 or a 4-2. Guess what? I got guys that can do that. If you don't have linebackers that can fly around and tackle, and you have 3 guys down, it's going to eat you alive because I'm going to run all over you because you got 5 guys blocking, or 6 if you keep a tight end. What are you going to do? I got more guys that you can't get there. I'm going to combo and get to that linebacker. I'm going to open holes. Something that I see happen all the time. I just don't understand it. And they'll get torched on runs. They drop to the floor, and all of a sudden, they're stopping them. What are you thinking?
Yeah, what do you think?
What are you thinking? Click?
Light on, no one home. But yeah.
I'm far from, believe me, I'm just an everyday coach that just sits and looks at stuff. I am no genius. I've been successful a lot of times where I went. But you sit back and go, why? Why did you run that play? What are you thinking?
Yeah. And I give McVay credit because after they interviewed him, and he said, "Yeah,
I blew it.
I blew it.
I blew it.
I blew it. I screwed up. It was all he took full blown accountability.
Sure.
He blamed himself. Did not blame the players. He said, "No, I made a mistake. That was totally on me. I cost the team the game." And he goes, I guess the thing is when somebody says that,
obviously it didn't work.
Everybody knows there's not much more you can ask him.
Yeah.
Because he's already said, he already takes full, he goes, yeah, I screwed up. It was my mistake. Bad call, bad play. I called it. It's on me. It's not on the players. They ran the play the way they were supposed to. I screwed up. And he said, so
as a coach, and believe me, it's happened to me many a times, and I heard about it. You're thinking in your head, I think this is going to work. I think this could work, and yet you fall on your face, and then who they're going to point the fingers, and it's like, yep, that was my stupid call.
I did it.
I thought I could do this, and it just doesn't work. And it's people don't understand also the pressure that you have. You've seen, and I know people that have never coached, look at that play sheet. You have no idea. I ran probably 35 run plays out of different formations and probably 30 pass plays. And then you could run that times 3 out of different formations. It's a chess game. And you as a coach, at my level, you didn't have anybody in a box. So in high school and up, you got guys upstairs that are your eyes because you get such a better view up there. When you're down on the field, it's hard to see it. So, again, I understand his call. But, again, he admitted it. I blew it. And you know what? He admitted to it, so that's a great thing as far as that coach.
McVay's
and he's a good guy. He's a good guy. I like him. He's hard-nosed.
He's a good coach. He knows the offense. And he knows how to coach teams. He knows, and the players like playing.
I was going to say, because the players love him.
And the quarterbacks, if you know, he's another one. McVay and Shanahan are probably the 2 best quarterbacks when it comes to relating to the best 2 coaches that relate to the quarterbacks.
Sure,
they know how to get the best out of the players. And especially the quarterbacks, like I said, you see a Mac Jones who was a complete failure. And one of the things with Mac Jones, I've mentioned this before, he was the one in that draft that Shanahan wanted to draft Mac Jones. Lynch, the GM, overrode him and they traded all those picks to get Trey Lance. And, Shanahan wanted Mac Jones, and they wouldn't have to trade up to get him. They could have just drafted him where they were. But Lynch was absolutely infatuated with Trey Lance's athleticism, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
They trade the house up to get him. He gets in. He just didn't fit in, and he really never got a good chance. And when he did get to play, he breaks his ankle, and the game just kind of went by him. Now he's the backup in San Diego or L.A., which we
whatever.
still call San Diego. It's the L.A. We still call them the San Diego Chargers.
Exactly.
And now Trey Lance, at least Harbaugh's another coach that knows how to get the most out of the quarterback.
He does.
And he's another one that does great with, facilitating the quarterback's strengths, and he seems to get the offense around the quarterback that helps the quarterback. And now Trey Lance played some exhibition. He looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to do okay as a backup with Harbaugh. But sadly, he's playing under a great quarterback, Herbert. So I don't know if Trey Lance is going to see the field that much. But
that could be trade purposes down the road.
Potentially could,
and
be.
That's probably what they're looking at. It's funny because you listen to some of these names, your Schottenheimers, all these young kids, all these young coaches who really do a great job offensively. Look at their fathers. Great coaches. Marty, I met him, got to talk to Marty when my brother was with the Browns. What a great man to sit and speak to. And some of the other coaches that we have mentioned, I mean, their fathers were such great coaches. And you sit back and go, that's why they were so good. They watched what their dad did, and they
were raised.
And they were, exactly, and they saw how successful their dad was. So maybe if I do that with my teams, and that's exactly what's happening. That's what I see. I mean, I really see these guys. I feel bad for Schottenheimer, who's with, I believe, Dallas. But he'll get it straightened around as long as Mr. Jones stays in his box, and you know how that is. He can't, he won't, and he got to just shut up.
Yeah, his problem now, get into Dallas and get into that discussion, is their defense is just awful. But then I got to wonder, after the 40-40 tie with Green Bay on Sunday night, that almost says, well, wait a minute. Look at Green Bay. Where was their defense? I mean, you gave Dallas. I mean, I'll give Dak Prescott this. I've never been a real big fan of his. I've always thought he was overrated a little bit. He is playing great this year. He really is. He's playing really good. He doesn't have a CD Lamb, but he's making a lot of stuff happen with that team, and their offense isn't a problem.
Here's the other thing, and I told Tom Noble's a big Dallas. He's been down there, sat in Jerry's booth, has sent me a picture and all this stuff and everything. But I'll tell you what, Dak Prescott, if you notice, he looks like he's lost 100 pounds.
Yeah, he does look bad. Yeah, looks thin.
Because there 4 years ago, he looked sluggish. He looked horrible. Even last year, he come back and I told Tom, I said, man, he really looks good. He looks even better now. He looks like he just came out of college. And I think that's what's making him better. His throws, everything. He could run a little bit better. So I think that he saw himself and said, I got to do something. It's on me. And I believe that's exact, because they could get through. They got him to the playoffs, but they always lay an egg. So, maybe this will help him. And there's a bit of difference for Dallas. And I believe it's been him. I really do.
Their problem is more the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, but their offense struggled for the last. I mean, they're winning games, but they just didn't have the.
Yeah, right now, when you look at Dallas, though, I believe their record is 1-2-1. Green Bay's 2-1-1. Philadelphia is obviously league division at 4-0, but they're not. Philadelphia hasn't played great, but they win. They find ways.
Yeah, they just got players.
And they just keep making plays.
Sure.
They do what they need, block a kick, whatever they need to do to win these games. And Philadelphia, like I said, they go into these games and you watch them play, and it's like, well, they don't look like the best team, but their record is 4-0, and
they're winning.
And they win.
Right.
And with that team, and, I keep hearing all these criticisms of Jalen Hurts and all, but bottom line is when you break it down, these guys know how to win games. And that's all that really matters in the NFL is you find a way at the end of the day, you're in a position to win.
Cleveland's trying to win. They should. Field goals have killed them. But again, they looked horrible at times. They look good at other times. Look at Cincinnati. My Lord, they have fallen apart.
And they were one of the topics I was going to get to. You've opened up that door, and I was going to talk a lot about Cincinnati and Baltimore, that division.
Yeah.
Is when that division, the AFC North, has really been turned on its ear, sort of to speak. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know. Cincinnati is maybe the worst team, 2-2 team in NFL history, or one of the. I mean, they're 2-2, and you could go a lot of different ways with Cincinnati. It maybe goes to show you how great a quarterback Burrow was, because boy, this team is a lousy team.
You ain't kidding.
I mean, this team fell off the proverbial cliff with Burrow being out. I mean, they're not even remotely competitive. They were absolutely horrendous against Minnesota, and then the Monday night game with Denver. Denver's okay, but
they're average at best.
They're average. Thank you. Average at best. They won that game 28-3. And it wasn't like Denver played great. It was Cincinnati's just awful. Dog awful.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that term. Dog
there
awful.
We go.
There we go. Bring those wild dogs in. Dog awful. They are so bad. And then the thing is, now with Cincinnati, they talk about, well, if we can get to like 9, if we can get 9-8, or, can we get Burrow back in? And I go, with this team, you're not going to get to 9-8. You won't have to worry about Joe Burrow in 3 months, because you're going to be so far out of the playoffs. You're not bringing Joe Burrow back on this team.
And everybody thought Baltimore's good. There's your team. They're going to win it all. And now is he coming back? Now, what's going on with him?
Jackson's out this week. Jackson hurt the hamstring.
Oh, man.
And that's a bad injury, because that can linger.
Yeah.
And he's out this week. Cooper Rush is their quarterback. He's the backup. They're hosting the Texans this week. We'll see how that goes. But no, Lamar's out. They're 1-3. But the offense isn't really the issue. It's, again, the defensive side of the ball. They gave up, 40 points and 41 points to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Then they gave up 37 points last week to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And it's just like, where is their defense? And then they lost with Kansas City. Who was their other get to it, but they had I was thinking Baltimore they're 1-3. They lost the game to
they only beat
Detroit.
They beat Cleveland.
That's it. They lost they gave up 38 points to Detroit on Monday night. Yeah, they lost 38-30 to Detroit. That was the team. Right. 41, 38, and 37. Then they beat Cleveland for 40-17. But the point is, their 3 losses, they've given up over 35 points, a lot of points in every game. And it's like, where is your defense? It's like Lamar Jackson's playing fine, but if you don't have the defense, he can't bail you out.
And here's Cleveland. Now they've made a change. I made a comment on Facebook, because all these Browns guys, what do you think? What do you think? You know what I said? How about you? The only reason why you took him out is because he isn't as mobile, a quarterback. He was running for his life. He's taking a snap. He's looking downfield and getting drilled. If you add up drop balls, fumbles, 1st and 15.
Yeah.
You're taking, you're asking a guy who's in his 40s to say, here, it's yours.
Bail you out.
Now, you better find a tackle, and you better find a guard, because this poor kid's going to be running himself to death, but that's what they want. I need somebody to get out there. Well, if you're going to do that, have somebody who's got a strong arm and bring in Shador. I don't understand what they are not, but they're claiming he doesn't know what he's doing. They're saying that he's intelligent, he's not getting it done.
He's not getting it done.
And that's shocking to me. I'm kind of confused.
That surprises me, and I don't know. That opens up the door to people saying, well, that's why he dropped to the fifth round, because he doesn't apply himself. Again, this is all pure speculation.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know, but people are now speculating, you see, that's why he went to the 5th round, is because, And because Shador's still third string. For the record, for what this is worth,
right?
Gabriel's 1, Flacco is now 2,
right?
Shador is now 3, which means if something happens to Dylan Gabriel, they would. If you look at the depth chart, Flacco goes back in.
Yeah.
Which I would make no sense, because I would think at this point you want to see what you have in Shador, because next year is going to be a big quarterback draft. You know, you're talking about all the future Hall of Famers. Allegedly, everybody rants and raves about a draft class, but you got all these fantastic quarterbacks coming out of college. So now Cleveland's probably, as you look at the standings and you see this team, you know they're not going to win many games. So they're thinking they're probably going to have a good shot at one of the quarterbacks coming out of next year's draft. Another one. But now the pressure is on Cleveland to determine, is Dylan Gabriel or Shador Sanders your guy? I mean, Flacco obviously isn't, but you've got to determine if
he maintains. He gets. You know what? That's good to have him in there. He teaches these guys, and I'm good with that. I have no problem with that. But unless you give him a line, if you give him a line and give him all day, and receivers catch the ball, how many drops I've seen, I've gone nuts. I can't even watch them. I get so upset. You're an NFL player. You get hit straight in the hands, and it falls to the ground. How many times in a drive did they have to either try to kick a field goal or punt because receivers are constantly dropping
the ball,
or it's always a procedure? You would think that I'm looking at the West Reserve Scourge, because every time that I got out there, I used to tell the officials, give me 1st and 15. I'm used to it because that's what's going to happen. They always jumped. We laughed about it.
No, but
it's true.
But I saw a lot with the problem you have ultimately is you take a team like Cleveland. I see a lot with the Giants, same thing. The line wasn't very good. They get a lot of the quarterbacks are constantly looking at 1st and 15 or 3rd and 9, 2nd and 12. Day in, day out, they can't get first downs. It's 3 and out, 3 and out.
Or when they do, what happens is holding on 75 on the offense every time they're driving.
So ultimately, that kills the drive. They punt, and then what you're doing is you're seeing time of possession first half where the team is 3 and out. Because I lived with the same thing with the Giants for the last how many years? Same thing. Constant. With no offensive line. They had Saquon Barkley and even Daniel Jones, and obviously they went to better teams and they're flourishing.
Yeah, exactly.
Bottom line is, when you don't have good offensive line or even a good D line, but especially the offensive line, is when you don't have it, you put a lot of pressure on your defense because you can't get first downs on any regular basis and score any points.
How is it? And it seems like every year at this time, how is it that there's always injuries on Cleveland? It's constant. Why? I don't understand this. How do we lose so many people at the beginning of a year? You don't hear that. How isn't it Philadelphia? How's Philadelphia not doing it? I don't understand this stuff. It's the same game, but it always seems to be, is it conditioning? Is he soft on them? Or are the players soft? What? There's got to be something going on here that we are constantly. The reason why Flacco gets thrown out, well, you got a 2nd or 3rd string tackle and guard going in. Are you kidding me? And he's not a mobile quarterback. Well, of course he's getting rushed. He can't get out of there. He can't even sprint him out.
No, and that's your problem.
Well, sure.
In a nutshell, is when the line is that bad, you can't run the ball to take pressure off the quarterback because they don't make holes. Yeah. Then you're constant in 3rd and long or 2nd passing downs, and with no line, the defense knows you have to pass. Then they let go, though they can blitz the linebacker or the safety. They blow your line up. And a guy like Flacco, not mobile. No. He's just a sitting duck, sort of.
Exactly. I'd like to see the total time that the offense is on the field compared to the total time the defense. It's got to be 2 to 1. It has to be. And the defense,
they wear out.
How can you?
Second half.
I mean, these guys are just leaving it on the field. As a Myles Garrett, and I see somebody come off the field when he gets hit in the hands, I'm going to go over. I want to eat his face off. I mean, do your job. You're getting paid this. How do you drop a football?
And therein lies your other dilemma. on that rare play that the quarterback does have time to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Then he hits the guy and the wide receiver drops the ball, and you're like, what could have been a first down, now we're punting because he can't catch the ball.
And defense is back out on the
now
field.
Guess what? Your defense rolls back on the field because the wide receiver dropped the pass that he obviously should have caught.
Oh, yeah.
And therein lies a lot of your dilemma with those. Then you see the good and the bad teams. You could see the bad teams always have the procedure. The lines aren't that good. They don't have a running game. Puts too much on the quarterback. Correct. And then in tune, like the quarterback struggles. And then ultimately, again, you're punting. You're in that cycle of, again, first downs, punting the ball, 1, 2,
Like West Coast offense. Those guys threw the ball probably 80% of the time. Right. They got to get back to the run. And when Cleveland's running the ball, I'll tell you what, them linebackers are dropping. Right. So when we're throwing the ball, they drop them back. Now we start running. Now the linebackers come up. Now you dink and doink down there. Right. The other thing upsets me is you got 3rd and 1. Okay, you're in a good position. Do something short. You want to throw the ball? Do something short. Why are you throwing constantly deep? I can never.
That high risk pass.
Oh, it's constant with them.
And that's the part that probably does, because I've seen that again with the Giants, and I kind of see them. I could see comparisons, and you see that with teams where it's 3rd and 1, get the first down. Like when one reason why Russell Wilson got benched, there's a lot of reasons why, but they're playing Dallas. They're in overtime. All they need is to get down the field and kick the field goal. And you figured, okay, hit a few passes, dink, right? Well, Russell Wilson drops back and he throws this moon ball. And he threw it right. There was no giant around. It was right to the Dallas guy. And I'm screaming at the TV like, what is wrong with you?
What are you thinking?
What is your process? All you need to do is hit your short screen, dink out, run. You throw your 10-yard down and out, down and in, where you're throwing to the receiver and you're throwing those short passes. No, he rears back. And then the other thing that drove me crazy, since we're on this topic, why not, is this is Russell Wilson's last game against Kansas City. And granted, they were going to lose anyway, but they're going down and it's 4th down, right? You're at the 4 or 5 yard line. Russell Wilson drops back to pass, and he just throws the ball out of the end zone. And it's 4th down. At least throw the ball
somewhere.
Maybe you get a call. Throw the ball, and they intercepted. So what? It's 4th down.
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? You threw it out of the end zone.
I get you. It's frustrating.
Halftime. We'll be back. Saturday Morning Sports Page. Bob Gessler doing a great job filling in for Dave Clark. I'm Pat Lucia. Back after this, Western Reserve Radio.
The stations that always keep you in the zone.
I love it.
It's awesome.
Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast, Youngstown, Ohio.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Are you ready to hit the gridiron and make your mark? The Cleveland Cobras are recruiting players and coaches for the upcoming Premier Amateur Football League season. We're looking for passion, grit, and the relentless drive to win. Whether you're a seasoned vet or hungry rookie, your shot starts now. Join a brotherhood, build a legacy, strike with the Cobras. Follow us on Facebook at Cleveland Cobras Football, or for league information, visit TAFLfootball.com to get started today. Team Pride Cobras.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The Village Tavern's been a beloved local landmark in Hubbard, Ohio for nearly a century, and now it's better than ever. Recently renovated and still serving up the same warm hospitality, the Village Tavern is your go-to spot for great food, cold drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. Whether you're stopping in for dinner, catching up with friends, or just looking to relax, you'll enjoy a full menu of American favorites, rotating drink specials, and friendly service that makes every visit memorable. Be sure to visit the Village Tavern at 746 North Main Street in Hubbard, right next to Repair That Glass. To learn more, go to villagetavern3.com.
Saturday morning sports page. 330-707-4202. Get in, talk sports.
Now he's talking real soft.
Yeah,
I got him fired up.
I got me fired up. Talking about the Giants.
Here we go. Giants
Speaking
and Browns.
of that, the Giants and the Browns. But you talk about two teams you could just sit there and just go criticize, bang, bang, bang.
Maybe we could intermingle players to make one good one.
Yeah, maybe they can. Combine both teams, see what you can get. No, they're tough watches. I mean, the Giants won the game last Sunday. Jackson Dart came in. He played okay. I mean,
he managed.
He managed it. The Giants do have a good defense. They do. I don't know how far they're going to go this season. They got a real brutal schedule. They have the Saints this week in New Orleans. I don't know where that game. I mean, I think that's a winnable game for the Giants because the Saints are just so awful.
Yeah, they need an identity and they just don't have it.
They just don't have it. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, people say, "Well, Spencer Rattler's not your quarterback." It doesn't matter who your quarterback is.
Yeah, I was never when Rattler played college. I never
thought he was that good. But the point is, with that team, I don't know.
Yeah,
because the team is so bad.
Yeah, it makes him look bad because he's trying to do stuff.
He's trying to make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And bottom line is, you're going to put the Schoaf, is his name Tyler Schoaf, the rookie. They'll probably play him, I guess, and then you'll have a rookie on a bad team.
Yeah, so
on a bad line,
you're just going to hurt the kid, or he's going to get clobbered. Right. Keep Rattler in there, maybe he could do something. Now, I know when he was in college, he liked to tuck and go. I don't know if he's still, or they tell him stay in the back and
I don't know with that team, to be honest with you, what you draw from any of it. Because sometimes you just don't know when a team is so bad. The quarterback could actually be halfway decent. I don't really know.
Right. How do you judge?
How to judge that?
Yeah, you get a snap and you got a snap. You got a one tech or a linebacker breathing down your throat.
And that's the other thing is you just can't draw from it. So the Giants have them. Your Cleveland Browns are across the pond playing the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are going with the backup Carson Wentz. Now, I heard the Viking offensive line is decimated. So this is going to be a very interesting game because you've got a team where last week I thought maybe Minnesota almost came back to tie that game. They lost to the Steelers. It made it an interesting game. They were not playing well, and then Wentz kind of figured it out, made it an interesting game. They came up short. This is going to be, people are complaining, well, what do you want to get up 9:30 and watch the Browns? And I'm thinking, there's a lot of people, because I think a lot of people want to see Dylan Gabriel. But a lot of people out there, and there is a Shedeur Sanders following like no other in football.
Oh, big time.
You look at the Cleveland Brown fans, you look at that crowd, everybody's got Shedeur Sanders jersey. I mean, he is like, he's a rock star. And here's why the game will probably get ratings is because there's people out there thinking if something happens to Dylan Gabriel, maybe Shedeur is going to get into play, and I want to see him play. So you're going to see people watch that game, I think, because of the Dylan Gabriel / Shedeur Sanders factor.
My thing to that is, okay, obviously, what we're hearing, again, hearsay, we haven't seen it, but when I see him with the solid twos and he goes down the field against it's Carolina, but they're still a professional football team, number ones, and he shredded them. Very comfortable in the pocket. His reads were perfect. I watched everything. He did great. Then you put him with the threes, against a better team and he gets destroyed and you're blaming him. Again, it's the Baker Mayfield thing, and I hate to bring this up, but I don't think Stefanski liked him, and I think Stefanski doesn't care for him because he doesn't want all that hoopla, cockiness, this and that, shut up and do your job. And I think that's what Stefanski didn't like about Baker, and he's doing the same thing with him.
Shador.
And I could be dead wrong, and if I am, I apologize. I just see what I see, and I don't understand. Give the kid a shot. You're doing nothing anyway.
Right. And that's the thing, too, is when you look at the schedule, that's why I look at the Giants' schedule is the toughest. Cleveland's got one of the toughest schedules. The Giants have the toughest schedule from what I've read, from what I understand. So it's Jackson Dart, which is fine. Now we're going to, here's the deal. We're talking about the Bengals, right?
Yes, sir.
If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you're the GM. Do you pick up the phone? Do you go, you look for another quarterback? Do you look for Kirk Cousins? Because this guy, what's his name? Browning's not your guy. You know that. I mean,
Right.
You saw 2 games that were just putrid games, not competitive. Now, and you're thinking, wait a minute, can we potentially get to 9-8? Get into the playoffs, can we get where Joe Burrow can come back and potentially like we did last year, only we got too far down the rabbit hole last year, too many losses in the beginning of the year, and Joe Burrow did his best, but we were a game short because of all those games we lost in the beginning. You're going down that rabbit hole right now because you're 2-2, and you're looking at this team. I'm watching this team play. They're not even remotely competitive. Again, they got absolutely destroyed by Minnesota in Minnesota. Then last week, Denver wasn't competitive on Monday night. It was a terrible game. Do you look at it and say, Browning's a good backup, but he ain't the guy we need? And do you pick up the phone, call the Giants and say, can we get Jameis Winston? I'm not saying is he better than Browning, or do you go to Kirk Cousins because Atlanta wants to, they'll trade him. You give him a 5th round pick and you pick up his salary, which is, I believe, is in the neighborhood of $20 million or give and take. But the point is, do you make a phone call and bring in a better quarterback? Because I got news for you. You're taking on water. You got to make a decision here, because if you think Browning's your guy, you're going to be way out of the playoffs, and you won't have to worry about Joe Burrow and his toe, whether or not he can play, because he'll be next year, and again, that coach may be out of a job.
The problem that I have with that is, I don't care who you put back there. If you don't have a front 5, it's going to give you any kind of time, and I see it.
Right.
You got to give him at least 3 seconds. I mean, he's getting demolished. I mean, the poor he's getting a snap trying to make a read, and he's running for his life, or he's getting drilled. I don't care who you put in there. Unless you have somebody like a John Elway that could release a ball in a split second and a receiver that's going to be ready for that fastball, you don't see that very often anymore. They want to go a little bit longer and stuff. So I don't have an answer for that. I don't think if you would bring in Cousins or somebody, they'd do even any better.
So you don't think it would matter?
Yeah, because if you don't have that line, you have got to get. And again, I hate to keep bringing them up, but Cleveland's the same thing. You could put anybody you want back there, but if you don't have a line, you are going to lose, and that's the problem. Or you're going to get your quarterback, who could be your future, killed.
Yeah. That's the
bottom line.
That's what I said. I've said the same thing. When they were talking about getting Dart in, Jackson Dart. I said, well, yeah, but how good is your line? And I think, I saw Russell Wilson play really good against Dallas defense. Had some hope until he throws the moon ball away, cost them pretty much the team the game. And then I knew after the Kansas City game they would make the move. Now, I'm not sure. I watched Dart play last week against San Diego. He played okay again, but you've got a line that's not good. You don't have a running game. So he did okay under the limitations of that team. Again,
sure.
No running game, and now Neighbors is out. Their star receiver gone for the year, ACL. the wide receiver core is not that good. It's an average wide receiver core, and I'm being nice, but you don't run the ball. You don't have a wide receiver core that's going to be really get open. So what is this poor kid going to do? I mean,
yeah, you can. You could put a great quarterback. I'm going to turn the clock back. I'm going to tell you a quarterback that should have been, and he might be. I don't know. It's been years. Look at Archie Manning. Archie Manning was one hell of a quarterback for the Saints. Unfortunately, he got his ass kicked.
He did.
Constantly. You would have put him behind a good line and receivers. He's sitting pretty. He's probably one of your better quarterbacks. He still was great, but he got destroyed. I don't care who you put back there. You have got to have a good line or somebody or a receiver that, or even if you're dinking and doinking, but eventually they're gonna catch on to that because these DBs are smart. They're gonna break on that, and it's gonna cost you. So I don't care. You could be the greatest quarterback. You have got to have a decent line.
You need the line.
Giants, Browns, Carolina, their lines are not good. You're trying to throw these guys in there to say, okay, run our football team. How about giving me some protection for God's sake?
And then you, like I said, you throw the other team is the Jets. The sad part is the Jets are not horrible team.
No, they're not bad.
I watched them against Miami. They played pretty good.
Yes.
But, man, it's almost like the Jets find a way to lose a game. I've just never seen a team quite like that, where the Jets will play. You look at the team; they're not a bad team. Justin Fields is actually, I think, he's playing pretty good.
Good job.
He's done well, and yet they're 0-4. They lost to Miami on Monday night. They didn't play a horrendous game, but it's the Jets, and it's almost like and I don't think Aaron Glenn's a new coach. Oh yeah, this is the other stat for what this is worth. If they lose again, Aaron Glenn will be the first coach in Jet history, rookie coach, to go 0-5.
This is the NFL. Come on, people.
I mean, it's like I go. So I thought to myself, what is it? Does that's basically? I'm thinking about what does that speaks of the Jets, not him.
Yeah, that's not him.
That's not him.
Guess what? We make the plays. We make the play call. You guys got to go out there, but then they'll say, "Well, you're the coach."
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, how do you motivate a player? I mean, what do you do?
And you're the Jets. The Jets find a way to. They're another team. They're the Murphy's Law of let's find a way to blow a game. Okay, let's do this now. Okay, yeah.
And I've heard people say, well, you're a professional. You should be able to step right in there. I got news for you. The difference between a starter and a third string ain't what you think. It's not what you think. No, there's a big gap in it. Yes, this man is a NFL player. He's, he made it. But is he that good to say, well, I'm right there. He goes out. I'll be in there. And there's where the problem lies. I think from your starters down to your third string, there's such a big gap at some of these teams that, you're trying to plug these guys in, and these quarterbacks, they don't have a shot in hell with that. And
they really don't. When you're looking at the NFL, the landscape right now, when you start looking at the divisions, I think the most disappointing team may be the Baltimore Ravens. 1-3, I would think they probably are. You look at them, their defense is very suspect, a lot of problems. Although, I don't know, here's another thing, like if you look at the Ravens, and maybe we'll get to in the fourth quarter, we'll look at all the games. But the other team, the Ravens, and I was going to throw Dallas in the formula, and then I'm looking now, and it says Dallas is going to be down 3 offensive linemen versus the Jets.
Oh, boy.
So now they won't have they have 3 linemen out. So Tyler Guyton is the latest one that's out, along with Tyler Smith is out. And then center Cooper Beebe is also he has a broken bone in his foot. So, and then they said Tyler Booker will miss the second straight game. So, I mean, you're pretty much, if you're a Dallas fan, I mean, Dak won't have a line against the Jets.
Guess what? Thank God it is the Jets, and that's probably what they're thinking. We might be able to get by, but, you lose that much. I mean,
I don't know how to.
And I don't know who's making the calls on the line. Usually it's the center. So you're losing your starting center. Right. Oh boy, that's not a good thing.
He's the guy, right?
He's the man.
So you break down you take disappointing teams. I put the Baltimore Ravens number 1. I was going to kind of throw Dallas in there because their defense has been so bad and the offense has carried them. Now I'm reading this for the offensive line. Now it's almost like, this could be a game. They're obviously, you're looking at the Jets. This could be the Jets' first win.
They might be able to if you have that many guys out, starters. I mean, and here's what's going to happen. They're going to put it on Prescott.
Oh, no,
it's going to
exactly.
be on his shoulder.
Yeah, it's going to be
so
him.
Guess what? The Boo-Hoos are going to come out with him. Where are they playing at?
I believe they play this in Dallas.
Well, that's going to be a plus, hopefully. Maybe that's going to help a little bit being at home.
Yeah, you see, and that's the point is
home sometimes helps a little bit.
No, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. They play that. They're playing in the Jet. They're playing at MetLife. They're playing in New York. Ooh. So they're playing that in Jersey at MetLife Stadium. Yeah, because the Giants are on the road in New Orleans, and the Jets are home.
That could be a problem.
So that's going to be a potential problem for the Cowboys.
Sure.
If you don't have a line. And, I mean, the Jets are they're not a horrendous team, and I think this could be.
That would be a huge step for them if they could beat Dallas at home.
Yeah. I mean,
I believe that.
Yeah, that's what they might need.
It could be a turning point for them, what they do after that. But, boy, I tell you what, you beat a Dallas team at home, even bar their injuries. Hey, guess what, guys? We're going to get it rolling now. Puts the confidence in those players. I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, it's 1 o'clock on Fox. The 0-4 Jets taking on the 1-2-1 Dallas Cowboys. Boy, man, what would it be, though, if Dallas drops to 1? If Dallas drops to 1-3-1, if Dallas loses, Jets go to 1-4. But you got Dallas at 1-3-1. Now, Cooper Rush is going to be the Raven quarterback. They're playing the Texans at home. I don't even know where to go. Texans are favored slightly, but the Texans haven't played that well either.
They haven't.
So they're on the road in Baltimore. Baltimore's defense has been obviously putrid. So you're looking at this team and you're thinking, no Lamar Jackson. Cooper Rush has always been an adequate backup for Dallas.
He maintains,
but you're looking at this and saying, where do you draw the line on that? So we'll get to these games.
Wow, that's a tough one. And this year, it's the 1-3s, the 0-4s, and then of course you got Philadelphia who's 4-0. Boy, there's such a big spread with these teams anymore. It's crazy. I mean, you got your top tier, and then there's no in between stuff.
And then these teams are just off the wall as far as predict week to week. What are they going to do?
Well, they talked about Cincinnati being up there, Baltimore being up there. Steelers weren't even talked about. Well, maybe, and who's leading the division? It's amazing.
And then the reality is, you look at the Steelers. Do you really think the Steelers could compete? Now, Kansas City's figured it out. They got the one wide receiver back,
right?
And you knew they would. I mean, I knew it was just once they got the one wide receiver back. But anyway, Kansas City's going to be fine.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
You could tell. So they're going to be back. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with Baltimore, because if they lose to the Texans, they go to 1-4. I mean, you start looking, when a team is 1-4, I don't believe I'll look it up, but I don't believe if they're 1-4, they don't make the playoffs.
And Pittsburgh's 2-2, correct? If I'm saying, are they 2-2? I thought. Or are they
No, they're 3-1.
Okay, they're 3-1.
Pittsburgh is leading the division.
How about that?
And they have the bye week. They're bye this week, so they're not playing.
And everybody below them is just
that's just
it. Crazy.
Nobody thought Pittsburgh would be leading this division.
No, they thought they'd be in the cellar with probably Cleveland. Right.
And now you got Baltimore and Cleveland are both tied at 1-3.
It's crazy.
So if you're a Cleveland fan, you got to be looking, can you beat Minnesota, who evidently their offensive line is out. Now, that'll be an interesting game to kind of figure out, because you got the rookie quarterback going against a very good defense, but now Minnesota not having a line. You think Myles Garrett?
Oh, they should have a field day on him.
They're going to have a field day with Carson Wentz.
Absolutely.
They're going to go after him. McCarthy, the quarterback. And then that's the other thing. Open up. You think Minnesota put too many eggs in that basket? They should have maybe kept Darnold, because Darnold's playing great for Seattle. Seattle's 3-1, and he looks really good. He's got confidence. He's playing good, and yet, I know you had to, I know he didn't play good at the end of the year, but during the season he got you to 14-3.
Right.
So you cut that off. Rodgers wanted to go there. They don't want Rodgers either. We're going to go with our man JJ. JJ's hurt again. He was hurt all last year.
Yeah.
So now you got Carson Wentz, the backup, who hasn't played horrible. It's just that they got behind the 8 ball against Pittsburgh, and now Pittsburgh finds themselves with Aaron Rodgers winning, and they're 3-1.
Yeah. Nothing's making sense this year. You try to put these puzzle pieces in there, and you sit back as a fan and go, wow, how did that happen?
How did this happen?
I'm watching this game. My God, what has happened to this team? Again, why so many injuries? I just don't get it.
The quarterbacks, you think of all it's like the mash unit, especially like you said, the injuries were rattling off. Now the Cowboy offensive line is hurt, but you're bringing up again the quarterbacks are all now. You got all these quarterbacks that are out. Lamar Jackson with the hamstring will not play.
But these ain't even hits.
No.
That's the thing that I don't understand. These aren't big hits on these quarterbacks that knock them out. It's toes and
the giant wide receiver, their star receiver Neighbors. I saw that injury. He didn't even get hurt. Like, he didn't get hit. But now people are looking at that MetLife turf, and you rattle off all the players that have blown out their ACLs and hurt their knees and Achilles on that turf. It's like maybe people are screaming and yelling, Giants, do something with that turf, because there's an array of players season ending. And Neighbors didn't really get. I watched the play. He came down and he twisted the ankle, and then it was the ACL. I go, what the hell happened? And he's out. He's gone for the year. And they said they feared it, and it was. It turned out.
I don't understand the turf thing. I don't get it. I thought NFL turf was throughout the league. I'm assuming there's different brands, different whatever.
I don't know.
But turf is turf. I mean, I don't understand. That was supposed to save people where the grass was killing. And now, you had a lot of injuries. Yeah. So what is it?
I don't know.
I mean,
people are looking at that turf at MetLife, and they rattled off. A friend sent me a text with, I'll get to it, of all the players that have blown out their either Achilles or on that turf. And it's scary, because it is. All those players, there's these lists of these players that are all had season-ending injury, and they're all playing on MetLife turf. But I don't know what to draw from it. All I know is, at the end of the day, he wasn't even hit. Neighbors is gone. We're talking these injuries, and start rattling off all the quarterbacks now.
But it's the same thing with injuries. People are going down without even being hit. That's the scary thing.
That's it.
What do you do?
Neighbors didn't even get hit.
Right.
He was going up for the ball, and he came down on. I could see it. The ankle. I thought it was an ankle, the way he tweaked.
And it just ripped everything.
But when he fell,
But how could you blame the turf on it? It's the way he came down. I've seen guys hyperextend the knees, and they're out. I don't know. I've been on a lot of turf. That's hard for me to believe.
I don't know, and I don't know what you draw from it. All I know is you've got, you've brought it up, though. The injuries are, again, coming to play here, and a lot of these teams are not only quarterbacks, but again, linemen being out.
You know what it is? It's Jimmy Hoffa's down there grabbing legs.
Well, some people believe that to be the case. Some people believe that to be the case.
That's horrible. Don't make any sense, though.
It does not.
But there's so many injuries in the NFL.
And that's what it is right now.
You can't blame that on the turf. It's just...
I don't know.
I don't get it. I don't
know. Maybe, I don't know if the injuries, maybe if they go to grass, they wouldn't have these injuries.
Yeah, but then they're going to say, I was watching where a cleat gets stuck or a leg slides out.
And maintaining it. Yeah. And maintaining the grass. So like I said, we'll see where we go, from any of that. But At the end of the day, though, the injuries have been playing.
Sure.
They're impacting these teams. And again, like I said, Dallas again won't have an offensive line. Minnesota's offensive line is also banged up, which they play tomorrow morning at 9:30. Dylan Gabriel will be the quarterback. So it'll be his debut as the quarterback. And, Minnesota, the only thing is Minnesota's been over there. They didn't come back. They played last week.
There. I was going to ask you that. I would assume they stayed.
Yeah, they stayed. They were in Ireland last week, and they're in London this week. So Minnesota stayed there. And now the question is going to be, does that help them playing Cleveland? Because obviously Cleveland won't have that advantage. Those players aren't quite acclimated to the time.
When did Cleveland get there? Do we know?
I don't know. They probably came here sometime this week.
I would think early part.
So bottom line is, I don't know if that matters, but I think you really go back to the line play. If Minnesota's offensive line is ailing and having, that's going to open up the doors to who's going to block Myles Garrett and anyone else on that D-line for Cleveland.
Those guys are tough up front.
So then the other question is, but Dylan Gabriel's going against a really tough Minnesota defense because Brian Flores is the coach, and he always has a great defense. So
you could flip that the same way.
Yeah, you could go either way.
Brown's offense is all banged up too, right. And so can
Dylan Gabriel?
Yeah, I'm going to see a lot of sprint out, I think, and I'm going to see a lot of running.
Yeah,
I got to believe that's what you're going to see
in that game.
Because again, Flacco, he got him there, but he's just not mobile enough, and you can't have three guys down with a mobile quarterback got cement feet who's old.
No,
sorry.
And that's the thing. It's not a good formula for success.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, we have a lot of, we'll get to the games, we'll look at them. Like I said, the Indianapolis Colts should have won the game last week, but the receiver was playing with the ball, trying to celebrate before he crossed the goal line.
Yeah, how about that?
Lost control of it. I mean, I don't know if these coaches, just beginning of the season, just tell these guys, don't beat it into their head. Don't do this. I don't want you celebrating. I don't want you doing, lay it on the line to these guys saying you're going to cost us a game. Years ago, I know we go back, we're old, but I remember watching as a kid, Walter Payton. I was old enough. I saw Jimmy Brown at the end of his career. I never saw any of those guys celebrate. I never saw Jim Brown. He'd hand the ball to the referee and walk over to the line. In fact, Jim Brown would score a touchdown and nobody would go near him because he was so mean. They thought, no, I don't want to he looks mad, but he just had that look to him. Yeah. And then Walter Payton would always hand the ball to the referee and run over. But none of those guys back then, and even I could go back further, but I never saw any the Giants, all those guys that played under Parcells.
Nobody didn't. That's because they're letting them celebrate because the league says that. And I'm going to go back. I got to make a statement on that.
All right. So, third quarter's in the books. Fourth quarter, we'll get to everything. We got games to pick, college. May Irish Michael try to call in. I think he's got a soccer thing going on. Anyway, we'll be back after a quick timeout. Fourth quarter coming up, Saturday Morning Sports Page.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
Are you ready to join the legacy? This is your chance to become part of something special with the Youngstown Patricians. Honoring the proud football tradition of the Valley, we're on the lookout for talented post-high school athletes who want to make their mark on the field. Whether you're a seasoned high school athlete, college, or former professional player, develop your skills and become part of a team that values hard work, dedication, and community spirit. Don't wait. Begin your path to the gridiron by visiting youngstownpat.com or contacting us on Facebook at the Youngstown Patricians. Be bold, be legendary, join the Youngstown Patricians today.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear. Because for years, he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So keep the animals safe, especially the cute shirtless one. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Ohio, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So, where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday morning sports page. Pat Lucia, Bob Gessler filling in. Hey, while you're here, why not? I'll put you down. Let's
start.
Let's do our picks. Let's do pro right now. Why not? Let's go Vikings. Since we're doing the Vikings at the Browns, 3.5. Browns are actually getting 3 and a hook on the road. Well, they are on the road. It's in London.
Yeah, everybody's on the road.
Everybody's on the road.
We
already broke this out. I mean, I don't know. Vikings have evidently no line now.
This
is 9:30 in the morning. I think a lot of people are watching this game a lot more than what they want. I think a lot of people are watching.
They're
because there are the Shedeur Sander folks.
Oh yeah,
and that's a big crowd that loves Shedeur. I'll go one better across the country.
Yeah, you're right.
He's a rock star.
He is.
So he is what it is. People can yell and scream about him one way or the other, but he is a rock star. Shedeur Sanders, people are going to watch this game thinking if Dylan Gabriel does something wrong, does Shedeur get to play?
Yeah, because if you brought Flacco in there and he's getting killed, it ain't going to happen.
I think that at the end of the day, I might be wrong, but
well, who knows? This is one of those ones you flip the coin. I still got to go with. I want Cleveland. With the points.
And the points.
Yeah.
3 and a hook.
So.
Yeah, you know what? I go back and forth with this one, though, too. I don't know if I took the Vikings last week and they lost. I lost this last week because the Vikings actually gave points to Pittsburgh. So and the way I've been doing this anymore, I'm to the point I'm flipping the coin. I think I'll go with the stupid premise that since the Vikings have been there, I'll lean toward the Vikings and lay the point, but I'm almost to the point that 3 and a hook bothers me.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it as it is. Let's go to the next game. Raiders are at the Colts, 6.5. Colts laying 6.5 to the Raiders. Colts lost last week, should have won last week. The Raiders lost to the Bears by 1 point. They come east, and they're playing the Colts. I like the Colts. I'll lay the points.
I like the Colts, too. I think because of the travel and I think they're going to be hungry because they lost.
Yeah, I think they're going to come back. Let's go the Giants at the Saints. Actually, the Giants are getting 2.5 points.
Wow.
In New Orleans. Giants won last week. Big win over the Chargers, 21-18. And then obviously the Saints lost to the Bills 31-19, but the Bills didn't cover because it was a 15-point spread.
Jesus.
They only lost by 12. We took the Bills. We got it wrong, but that's been the way it's been. Bring in the dogs. Send in the clowns. We're going to be sending in the dogs. Anyway, the Giants are at the Saints. I don't know. The Saints are awful. The Giants aren't really much better. I'm a Giant fan. I'll take the points and I'll take my G-men.
Yeah, I want the G-men too.
In the dome down there. Let's go to the Cowboys at the Jets. Now this is the Jets are actually home dog getting a point and 2 points, 2.5 points. Jets get 2.5 points at home. We just found out the Cowboys' offensive line is pretty much non-existent. I'll go out on a limb. I'll go home team. I'll take the Jets.
Yeah, I kind of like the Jets because I don't know if Dak will be able to handle that rush.
No.
I mean, he's been running good and everything,
he's been doing fine.
But again, he's also accident prone and he gets injured.
And the Cowboys don't have much of a defense. Their defense is putrid.
Yes, and their offensive line now, half of them are gone. So I think you got to go with the Jets.
Let's go to the Broncos at the Eagles, and the Eagles are actually laying 3.5. The Broncos coming off a big Monday night win over the Bengals. We talked about it 28-3. And then the Eagles won last against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-25. The Buccaneers made a chance to get back in, but they got too far down the rabbit hole in the beginning of the game. They could never come back from that.
Yep.
They lost. Baker threw a really bad interception at the end, but I don't know.
I don't think it would have made a difference.
I don't think it would have made a difference.
No.
Broncos get 3.5 on the road in Philadelphia, and they're coming off the Monday night win.
At Philly.
I'll take the Eagles.
Yeah, me too. At Philly. That's hard to – and they're 4-0. And at Philly, that's a tough place.
Broncos are 2-2. Let's move on to the Dolphins at the Panthers. The Panthers are 1.5-point favorite. That's almost a pick'em game. The Dolphins won last Monday night, 27-21. At least everybody wants to fire that coach down there. So Panthers got absolutely destroyed by New England in New England. Again, they didn't show up, and they got beat 42-13. So you've got this is a game up in the air. I don't know. Panthers at home getting 1.5.
I got to go with Miami. Yeah. I think I don't know. Panthers, what they have. Carolina has just been cluster.
As much as I don't, I'm going to take the Fins. This is the next one up is one I can't figure. I don't know what to do with the Texans are at the Ravens. And the Ravens are actually home dog getting 2.5 points as a home dog. Cooper Rush is the quarterback, so they don't have Lamar Jackson. The Texans came off a big win last week, 26-0, to get their first win of the season. Both these teams are 1-3. Ravens lost last week to the Chiefs, 37-20. Wow. So the Ravens defense, we talked about it, has been non-existent. And you've got the Texans getting off the 0-3 snide last week, coming back and winning 26-0 over the Titans. I don't know where you draw from that. The Titans may be the worst team in the league, or one of the worst teams.
Yeah.
The Saints and the Titans, I think, and now I think the Bengals go into that mix too. No Burrow, no Bengals, terrible team. But let's get back to the Texans at the Ravens. I digress. 2.5. So do you feel like Cooper Rush can...
I still got to go with the Ravens. I think they're a better football team.
Yeah, that's what...
who knows?
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. If he maintains, they could win. If he tries to force and do stuff, could be an issue.
Yeah, I like the home team. I like the Ravens. Let's go to the Titans at the Cardinals. I don't know what to make of this because the Cardinals, historically, they don't ever cover, but they're 7.5 favorite. The Titans being the worst team. I got to go with the Cardinals because I can't take the Titans on the road on any capacity.
No, yeah, I got it. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't. I can't. And the way the Titans have played.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the only problem you have with the Cardinals, they have a tendency to let everybody in the game, but they'll win, but they won't cover. But it's the Titans. I can't take the Titans in those points.
Plus at home.
Yeah, Titans. I mean, the Cardinals
are at home, so I'll take that.
Out in the desert. Let's go to the Buccaneers at the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 3-1. They beat the Cardinals last Thursday night, 2 Thursday nights ago, 23-20. They played a good team. They beat Pittsburgh. They're 3-1. They're playing good. The Buccaneers tough loss last week.
Well, who's getting the points?
Seahawks get the points.
Ooh.
No, I'm sorry. Buccaneers.
Okay.
4.5.
I'm going to take the Buccaneers. I like Baker. Sorry. I'm a Baker fan. I think he can. Last week was just
I'll take the Buccaneers because I like the fact it's 4.5. They could keep it to field goal, you win.
Yep.
The next one is the Lions are at the Bengals, and the Bengals are actually a home dog getting 10.5 points against the Lions.
I like the Lions.
I like the Lions.
I'll
lay those points.
I like the coach. He's a good guy.
And the Bengals are just awful.
Yeah, they're not good.
They're not good. Let's go to the Commanders at the Bolts. That's the next one, 425.
Ooh.
3.5. The Bolts lay 3.5 to the Commanders on the road in San Diego, in L.A., the big gazebo that will be it'll be full of Commander fans because no one goes to the games for the. That's a guarantee. That was happened Thursday night. It was all 49er fans.
Yeah, how
they
about
played
that?
in L.A. Yeah, right, L.A. and it was all red in the stands. Let's go. Commanders at the Bolts 3.5. Bolts lay 3.5. I'll take the Bolts. I know
Guess
Daniels
what?
is back.
Here we go. I'm going to take the Skins.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm old school. They got to get these names back.
Yeah, the Patriots at the Bills, Sunday night game, 8.5. Patriots get 8.5. They won big last week against the Panthers. The Bills beat the Saints, did not cover, but won 31-19. 8.5. Bills lay 8.5 to the Patriots. It's a Sunday nighter.
I got to go with the Bills.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know if they're going to cover,
Josh Allen, he's tough.
But I'll take the Bills. Let's go to the Chiefs at the Jags Monday nighter. Jags get 3.5 at home. Home dog. The Jags get 3, and the Jags are 3-1. And the Ravens
I got to go with
2-2.
KC. I think they're gonna start clicking.
Yeah,
they're due.
Yeah,
I mean they've been winning, but I mean I just think that they're finding their identity.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's hit the phones. Hey, you're on the sports page. What's going on?
Good morning, Pat. Good morning, Bob. How you guys doing?
Hey, Irish Mike, what's happening, man?
Doing well. Hey, as a lifelong Cleveland sports fan, there's two stories in Cleveland. You know, when you listen to talk radio or listen to print media or podcasts, I just can't take anymore, and they just keep coming back again and again and again and again. Obviously, the Guardians were eliminated on Thursday, so you have to hear all the sports fans talk about how the Dolans are cheap, they won't spend money, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know, and they just made... You know, I tell somebody, just can't you enjoy the season? You made the largest comeback in history made for baseball, being 15.5 games back. I mean,
I know.
And you won the division.
Yeah.
And these are the same people, guys, that yell, go Browns, and they haven't won the division since 1989. Yeah. That's 36 years.
Yeah.
Like, and I understand they need more hitting, but I say every year, whether it's playoffs, whether it's last year, Lucia, this year, next year, the following year, it's always about good pitching and timely hitting with runners in scoring position. That'll never change.
No.
Yeah.
No,
so you could have we had some of the greatest lineups in the history of baseball in the 90s for the Indians, and we didn't win a World Series. I mean, we had studs everywhere. It doesn't mean, you can spend more money, but it's not going to guarantee you anything.
No, you're
absolutely. The Padres have a higher payroll than the Guardians. They got shut out 2 or 3 games by the Cubs.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right?
No.
So that's just an argument, guys. That's going on for years and years. I feel so bad for those people that have to host radio shows. And the other one is, and Bob mentioned it, is Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Right? You got to relive that again and again and again. If Baker Mayfield stayed in Cleveland, he would not be the Baker Mayfield he is now.
No, because they didn't want to spend the time with him.
No.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe it's that Cleveland ruins quarterbacks.
Yeah, they do.
It's
the
a
graveyard of quarterbacks.
And obviously, he was hurt his last year, and he played when he should not have played. Everybody agrees with that. And, And the reality is he was going for a contract, okay?
Yeah.
You know and I know. He was thinking big money in the contract, and he had a bad year in 2019, he had a bad year in 21-21, and they wanted to move on. He had some maturity issues. We all agree with that. And,
But the other thing behind that, Irish Mike, is every time he turned around, he had a new offensive coordinator, too.
Correct. Correct.
I mean, you can't do that to these guys. I mean, I know it's the NFL and they got to learn, but you can't keep doing it. You got to have consistency. I don't care what level of coach you are. You have got to stay your consistency. You can't keep throwing full offenses at these guys and say, okay, now this is what we're doing.
No,
the other thing I was going to say, gentlemen, is the fact, when he went to Carolina, he didn't play very well down there at all, and then they traded to L.A., and he was up and down L.A., and when Tampa Bay re-signed him as a free agent, they gave him a 1-year, $5 million contract. So let's be honest, after 5 years, even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were not sure about Baker Mayfield. Let's be honest.
But you're right. In fairness to him, though, he stepped up.
He made it work. He made it work.
Exactly.
And not only that, he signed a very team-friendly contract. He
Correct.
didn't want the Dak Prescott, I need $60 million.
Yeah,
he
didn't
took
want it.
like $25 million. He's one of the lowest paid quarterbacks in the league. He doesn't care. He goes, I want the team to build around me.
Yeah.
So he signed a very and the team just came to him this year and said, we're going to guarantee the last year of your contract because it wasn't even guaranteed. And they go, well, Baker, and he goes, okay, fine.
Yeah, there's no argument.
He's not screaming and
He
yelling.
wants to play.
And he'll take $25 million.
Exactly.
He'd be very team friendly. He's not like, I need Daniel Jones money. No, I'll take less money than most of these guys because I like Tampa and I like the team and I like the coaches and everything. I mean, you can't say that the guy's greedy.
No, and everywhere he goes, people love him
And
because
he's
he's
they all
a
love
likable
right.
guy, and he gets
I don't know
involved
about
with
the
his.
Browns locker room at the end. I don't know. About
Well, I'm just saying people. I'm just saying the people.
Well, you know what, though? I mean, there's all that speculation, which I don't know. They said Odell Beckham was somehow involved, that they didn't get along.
Yeah,
and it doesn't seem like Odell Beckham
Myles
goes.
Garrett was involved.
Right, and you don't know what went on, and the only problem is that's funny that he's going to Tampa Bay, and they all love him down there, and the team
And he's
likes
winning.
him, and he's winning, but the team you don't hear any problems with the teammates. They all love the guy,
right,
and the coaches like him.
This comes from my diehard Cavaliers, Bob. He's also playing in the worst division in NFL football. He plays Carolina twice, Atlanta twice, New Orleans twice, and those are 3 of the 5, 6 worst teams in the NFL. So that does help.
Well, you know what?
Yeah,
but you know what? That goes both ways because now maybe the North is a bad league.
Yeah,
You
look at us.
That can go one. See, the thing with the NFL is that could be year to year because all of a sudden everybody was going, "Oh, the AFC North is by far the greatest blah blah division." Yeah, well now 1-3, Cleveland's tied with Baltimore for 1-3, and your bottom line is you have the Bengals they're the worst. They may be the worst team of all of them.
And Steelers are
the Steelers are
never
3-1,
supposed to go anywhere,
and they weren't supposed to be anywhere, and they're leading your division. So I can't figure any of this out.
Well, Lamar Jackson won the money. He got his money, and now Baltimore's left with 3, maybe 4 really good defensive players, and the rest of the guys on defense aren't very good.
No, they're not.
They are horrible.
They stink.
Yeah,
I mean
bad on defense.
they are horrible on defense.
No, they're the defense. They play Detroit, Kansas City, and Buffalo 3 of the first 4 weeks, and those are 3 of the top 5 teams, top 6 teams in the entire NFL. So those are good teams.
But you gave them over almost 40 points. You gave Detroit 38, 41 to Buffalo, and 37 to Kansas City.
Just do your job.
You think of Raekwon Smith, a linebacker, Kyle Hamilton,
Yeah.
safety, and maybe Bobby Humphrey at cornerback. Right?
Yeah,
That's about it.
and that's
right?
it. But they're
And you
getting
look around-
shredded left and right. And hey, before you go, let's get the picks.
Okay. How did we do last week?
Let's see. Last week college was I was 4-5. Dave Clark was 4-5. Let me see, what was it? Bear with me. Where did that go? Anyway, here. Yeah, you were 4-5. I was 4-5. Dave Clark was 3-6. You're 16-11 overall. Dave's 17-19. I'm 21-15 in college. Forget the pros. I need Gessler's dogs in here.
You're going to bring up Honey and Mocha.
My picks are going to the dogs.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. Let's go.
Well, let's do this.
Let's do it. Iowa State at Cincinnati -2. Cincinnati lays 2.5 to Iowa State.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'll gamble. I'll take Iowa State beat Arizona big last week. 39-14. Cincinnati edged out Kansas 37-24. I'm just going to take Iowa State. I think they're the better team. I don't know.
I'll go Iowa State as well.
Yeah, me too.
You want Iowa State?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they're the better team.
Okay, let's move on to Illinois at Purdue at noon. This is, I don't know where to go with this. Purdue is getting 8.5 at home over Illinois. Purdue is off last week before they got hammered by Notre Dame 56-30. Illinois beat USC last week 34-32. I like USC. What say you?
Illinois at Purdue, correct?
Yeah, it's Illinois. Yeah, I like Illinois. I'll take Illinois at Purdue. I'll lay the 8.5.
I'll take Purdue at home because this is a weird line. There's a reason why this is a weird line. So I'll go Purdue.
I'll go Illinois.
Okay.
I think Illinois could outdo them. Purdue with that week off. Hopefully they're ready.
Let's go with Texas at Florida. Florida gets 5.5. 3:30 today on ESPN. Florida coming off a bye. Texas kind of had a bye. They beat Sam Houston State. So no, they were. I'm sorry,
I'm gonna
Texas.
Go with the Gators at home, Lucia. I'm going to go with the Florida Gators at home in the swamp.
Mm.
And next week, Florida plays at Texas A&M. Their schedule's brutal. It's
Yeah,
brutal.
they said it's one of the worst. I'll take Texas and lay 5.
You know what? I think Texas could go in there and do something.
You want Texas? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to Clemson. I had to throw this on. I wasn't going to, but I did. Clemson at North Carolina. Bill Belichick taking on Dabo. Belichick's getting 13.5 at home.
Ouch.
It's a lot of points, but boy, both these teams are like, Clemson is bye. They lost Syracuse 2 weeks ago, and then North Carolina was bye. They lost to UCF 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
so both these teams
they're struggling,
and they're struggling. I got to go with Clemson.
Me too.
I'll lay the
North
points.
Carolina's offense is awful, Lucia. Their offense is awful. It's beyond awful.
Yeah, I'm going with. I'm sorry, a lot of people don't like him, but I like Dabo. I like him as a coach, and I think he gets.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
they'll get it.
They're not going to lose to North Carolina. I agree with you, Irish Mike. They're terrible.
Yep.
Let's go to Virginia at Louisville, and it's Virginia's getting 6.5 on the road in Louisville. 3:30 today, ESPN 2. Is the game on if you want to watch it. Virginia beat Florida State 46-38 last Friday night in overtime. Big win. And Louisville beat Pitt 34-27. And Louisville's laying 6.5. I'll take Virginia and the points.
I'll take Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with the Birds.
All right. Let's go next with Washington at Maryland.
Oh, boy.
Maryland is on bye week, but they beat 2 weeks ago. They beat Wisconsin with the new quarterback, and everybody's ranting and raving about Maryland. We saw Washington get handled pretty good at home last against Ohio State. Buckeyes
but again, that's
defense,
Ohio State.
But Ohio State's defense, that might have been one of their best games they've played in a while. I don't know where you go. Maryland is a home.
This is a league game. This is a league game, guys.
A league game, and Maryland's getting 6.5 at home.
At home.
Ooh.
I'll go with Maryland because Seattle. They got to fly 5+ hours from Seattle to land over Maryland. I'll go with Maryland.
Irish Mike, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Got to go with Maryland.
I like Maryland too. I like the quarterback. Next one is Texas Tech at Houston, and Houston's getting 11 and a hook at home. Big underdog, 11.5.
Ooh.
I'll take Texas Tech.
I hope they could cover. That's what I'm
That's the
thinking
question.
About. 11.5. Wow. I got to go with Texas Tech too. I think they're better.
I'll go with Texas Tech as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Across the board. Miami, Florida at Florida State tonight on ABC at 7:30. and Florida State's getting 4.5 points.
Ouch.
I don't know. I think Miami's a better team. I'll take them.
Yeah, I'm going to go Miami as well. I think they're for real, Pat.
I am too.
Yeah, because
the defensive linemen, they got 2 guys projected on the top 10 NFL draft next spring.
I will be the same. And you know what? They've been playing well. You know, they fell off. Florida State, Miami fell off. All of a sudden, Miami's getting the recruits, and man,
their quarterback.
They're big in the NIL, getting just choose favor, bringing guys in from other schools, and Carson Beck. He's rejuvenated his career there, right?
Yep.
He's rejuvenated his career.
Well, the money's good, but the bikinis are better.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Last one, Kansas at UCF. UCF is getting 5 and a hook. Home dog, Kansas on the road. They lost last week to University of Cincinnati, and UCF beat Kansas State last week 34-20. I don't know. I'll take UCF, the home dog.
I was going to say they're home.
Yep, I'll take the home dog and 5.5 points.
I'll take them.
I'll do that as well. I'll take UCF.
Yeah, I think so.
Home dogs.
Yeah, that's a
But
home dog.
you guys, Bob, you mentioned we all have UCF, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, say, Bob, you mentioned the reason why you picked Maryland, because Washington's flying all the way cross country from Seattle to Landover. It's a 5-hour plus flight, and they played last week.
Yep.
You know, I think I was looking at UCLA's schedule, okay? And I think there's 4 times they play at Rutgers, they play at Michigan, they play at, that is the big, I know you're a Notre Dame fan, that is the big reason why, and Lucia and I have been talking about the last year and a half on the show, that USC basically wants out of the Notre Dame contract because of this Big Ten thing.
Travel.
That they already played at Illinois this year. They're going to play later on. They're going to play, I believe, at Rutgers or at Maryland. Yeah. Their thing is they already got to fly cross country at least 3 times during the year, at least 4 or 5 hours. If they come to South Bend every year, that's another cross country flight for their team, and that'll make 4 in a year.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. I agree with that.
Well, here, this is what I throw up to you guys. This is what always amazes me. Is, what the hell did they think was going to happen when they signed up to get into the Big Ten?
Oh, no, I agree.
And not only that for football, but look at all your other sports, like, baseball, women's track, men's track, women's volleyball.
Just the cost alone, back and forth.
Well,
it's millions.
It was $60 million.
There you go.
$60 million to get into the Big Ten. They were put in their pocket, could get in because they got Big Ten.
And how much of that actually put in their pocket after travel with as many teams as they got to go back and forth? Yeah. That is not cheap.
Well, again,
they wanted to say, look, we can compete. We can compete. It's the money is right, but then you turn around with travel. Oh my God, these poor kids. You're never going to get comfortable. Either that, or you find a place to stay over there and stay on the coast if you're playing back to back. But if you're back and forth, it ain't going to work.
I don't know what
you can't put that.
Winter, guys. I told Pat, Mick Cronin, the UCLA men's basketball coach, was complaining because I think they played at Rutgers on a Thursday night, then they had to play at Maryland at noon on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And his argument, that was too quick of a turnaround. Like, basically, you played late Thursday night, then early Saturday. Yeah. That's not fair to his program, his kids, and blah, blah, blah. And Lucia said, this is what you signed up for. Remember, you said that, Pat? This is what you signed up for.
What I mean.
Well, that's absolutely right. Before you put your skull on that dotted line, you better know exactly. And the money's dangling, but you got to understand what this is crazy. You got to sit with your boosters and everybody and say, this is what's going to happen, guys. Can you handle it?
Well, because
you can't.
You were losing money in the Pac-12.
They
needed money. Because they were losing the Pac-12 the Pac-12 TV deal was crap. They were losing money. It was in the toilet, so they needed money. And especially UCLA is a public institution. Yes. They were down. They were in the red.
Okay, and I get that. But so what you're telling me is, see, again, it comes back to the money, and we sacrifice all these athletes, male and female, because you know what? We need the money. So guess what? Here it is. Carrot in front of the mule, baby.
That's it.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what happens. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Yeah. All right, Irish Mike, thanks so much.
Bob.
All right, man, thanks.
For calling in, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. No. Thanks for doing the show. Help me out.
I had a lot of fun. I know you wanted to go over more things, but you know me. We always get caught
We got our picks in, and that's all we needed to do.
It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
It's a blast. Thanks again for helping out, filling in for Dave. Pat Lucia, have a safe week. Do not drink and do not drive, and stay sober and buckle up. Saturday morning sports page, Western Reserve Radio.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
In Las Vegas. Soak up the sun and party all night, 365 days a year at Stadium Swim. Secure your spot now at circalasvegas.com.
Join the guru, John Hansen, at the intersection of prop betting and fantasy sports on Prop Points, only on VSiN.
Lesson number 1, Patty's back. I still believe that Caleb Williams is not any good. And, other than Rome Odunze, I don't trust anyone that can't run the ball.
John and his guests will help you find the connection between the two and give you his expert advice on how to capitalize when a number is too good to pass up. Prop Points, weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on VSiN.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
VSiN's College Football Tailgate Show. Only on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Hour number 3 of the VSiN College Football Tailgate Show. I'm Tim Murray, live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll head to the Big House. We'll talk to Ian Fitzsimmons. He'll be on the sidelines for the national radio call of Michigan and Wisconsin. We'll get some thoughts on that game, some best bets from Ian as well. Bottom of the hour, Chuck Esposito, will he give another answer to the test? Another situation last week where Chuck told us where the number 1 ticket count was, and that team failed to cover. Last week, it was BYU. They failed to cover against Colorado. It has been pretty successful so far this year. I believe it is 4-1. The number 1 ticket count play at Stations Casino here in Vegas has lost. So Chuck Esposito coming up bottom of the hour, and I'll see if I can guess it this week. I felt confident about my play last week. I did not get there, so we'll see if I can figure out what the number 1 ticket count is for today. But what we like to do here to start the final hour of the VSiN College Football Tailgate Show is we like to go fast. We like to hurry up. We like to spread it out. We're going to dish it all over the field. We're going to go up and down. We're going to go Oregon style. Back in the day, Chip Kelly, Oregon, by the way, not playing today. We're going to run through all of the games for top 25 teams, try to hit as many games as possible. And we'll start with the number 1 team in the land. We haven't mentioned them today. They're playing Minnesota. Late night game, Ohio State. How will they bounce back after their win over Washington? Is this a little bit of a sandwich spot for the Buckeyes? Washington, very tricky spot last week, aced the test. And next week, they have to go on the road to Champaign. This week, you take on the Gophers of Minnesota, and you're a 23.5-point favorite. I don't know how Minnesota's going to score in this game, but I could see this being kind of a sleepy spot here for the Buckeyes. Not looking to take the dog necessarily, but maybe a team total under for Minnesota. I don't know how Minnesota has much success against this elite defense over there in Ohio State. So that gave 7:30 Eastern. That'll be on NBC. 23.5-point favorite are the Buckeyes in that one. Number 2 team in all the land, Oregon. Well, they are off this week. They are not playing, so we have to press on to the number 3 team in the country. That would be Miami, maybe biggest game of the weekend, my number 1 game of the weekend. Great rivalry, wide right, wide left. Will we get some kicking shenanigans between Miami and Florida State? What we have seen is a little spread shenanigans as Florida State seems to be taking some money here at Circa down to 3.5. Another shop in Vegas down to 3.5 as well. If you do like the dog, you can get a 4.5 at a national shop out there. That's been a common play, but we've seen some head-to-head clashes out there. I know Humans and Paul Stone both like Florida State. Chris the Bear Felica, he's on Miami, one of his plays in the Circa Friday Football Invitational. I like Florida State. Don't love it, but I did take 4.5 with Florida State, down to 3.5, as you can see here at Circa. How will Miami fare in their first road game of the season? They've had a couple of tests this year, Notre Dame, South Florida, Miami, and Florida, passed them all. Now they have to go on the road. How does Florida State bounce back after their loss last week against Virginia? Embarrassed last year, the Noles were against Miami, but let's be honest, the Noles were pretty much embarrassed against everybody last year as they went 2-10. How will Mike Norvell's squad bounce back after that loss from last week? Moving forward here on what's on the docket today as we look at some of the top 25 teams and some of the games that we have not touched on so far, as we also look at a Oklahoma team that is playing Kent State. Look ahead down to Red River. Do you have the chest hair to take the Golden Flashes? Now, Kent State, we'll say, they went down to Lubbock, and they did cover the 48.5-point spread against Texas Tech earlier this year. They lost by 48. So do you dare take Kent State? Maybe a second-half play would be the way to look here with the worst FBS team in the country versus Oklahoma. But no John Mateer. Michael Hawkins will be the starter here for Oklahoma. And as mentioned, is this a little bit of a peek ahead down the road to Red River next week, Oklahoma and Kent State? This number sitting at 46. How about let's go to number 7, Penn State. UCLA today. How does Penn State respond to after their performance last week? So they come back, they force double overtime, and Drew Aller throws the back-breaking interception. By the way, pour one out to anyone who had the under in Penn State and Oregon. That was a brutal beat. But now you go out to UCLA, a team that just fired their offensive coordinator this week in Tino Sunseri, fired Deshaun Foster a week ago. They did cover last week, the Bruins did, at Northwestern. What will we get this afternoon in what will be no doubt a sleepy Rose Bowl? Can Penn State, can Bully James cover this number of 24.5? Did you know Penn State winless against the spread this year? 0-4 ATS. How about of the 5 preseason top 5 teams, 3 of them winless against the spread? Clemson, Penn State, and Georgia. Speaking of Georgia, they have Kentucky today. Saw this nugget from our buddy Brad Powers. Kirby Smart, 0-7 ATS when laying 20-plus points against an SEC opponent. Georgia, Kentucky kicks off between the hedges at noon Eastern. And what should we expect from Georgia coming off of that loss to Alabama? You would think that Georgia would be ready to take care of business and dominate this opponent. Market would disagree. They've taken in on the Big Blue Nation here, thinking this game could be maybe a little bit competitive, down to 19.5. So now that number under the key of 20 in the sense of the trend that I just mentioned, 0-7 ATS for Kirby Smart when laying 20-plus points. But that is in that noon window. Kentucky at Georgia here today. Also in that noon window, a game that we've discussed, Iowa State at Cincinnati. 14th ranked Iowa State is the underdog. Interesting. I like Cincinnati quite a bit. One of my favorite plays of the week. They started as a dog. They flipped to the favorite. Cincinnati, I expect them to be able to put up some points. We heard from Stormy. She was on the call last week of Iowa State and Arizona. She's been impressed by Iowa State's offensive output so far this year. She likes the over in that game. I think the Bearcats take care of business. Keep an eye on the status of Dante Corleone, the Godfather, a big-time defensive lineman, missed the last 2 games for the Bearcats. Will he be available? Apparently, it is a game-time decision. All right, continue whirling you around some of the big games with teams in the top 25. We've talked about Texas and Florida. 3:30 Eastern kickoff down there in Gainesville. Sunbelt Billy's last stand. Do we get some life from the Florida Gators, who are 1-3, but they're coming off a bye? They've seen some positivity from a health standpoint as they are expected to have the season debut or career debut of Dallas Wilson. Now, Texas also getting some good news. Contravion Wisner, the running back who was questionable earlier this week, he was listed as probable on Thursday. Emmett Mosley, the Stanford transfer, he's expected to make his Texas debut. Texas's defense, I think it's elite. Florida's offense, I don't think it's elite. Leaving it at that. So will we see a live dog situation with the Florida Gators taking on the Texas Longhorns? Alabama and Vanderbilt, 3:30 as well. They're in Tuscaloosa. We've talked to Paul Stone about this game. We've had varying opinions regarding Vanderbilt, how well they've played in the dog role under Clark Lee with Diego Pavia as their quarterback. Of course, this is a big revenge spot for Alabama. Just think of it this way. Last year in Nashville, the number was 23.5. This year in Tuscaloosa, it's 11.5. We have corrected the market quite a bit. I like Alabama. I didn't lay the chalk. I have them in a couple money line parlays, but I do like Alabama here in this spot. Also in that 3:30 window, Notre Dame taking on Boise State. This will be the biggest underdog role for Boise State this century. They are a 21-point underdog at Notre Dame Stadium this afternoon. The last time they were this big of an underdog, 1999 against UCLA. The look-ahead number was 15.5. This number has been steamrolling all week long here towards the Irish. Look, you know me. I'm a big Notre Dame fan. Can be pessimistic at times. I don't love this defense, even though they looked better last week against Arkansas. The worry I have about Boise State plus 21, which I did take a little nibble on Boise State plus 21. Here's the worry. Notre Dame needs style points. Look at their schedule. No ranked teams left. They already have 2 losses. They're good losses, but they lost to Miami. They lost to Texas A&M. They have no margin for error. They have to blow teams out. Here's a nugget. Marcus Freeman, since taking over as the head coach of Notre Dame is the best cover team in college football. 30, 14-2 ATS. Pretty darn impressive. But if you look at when they've played G5 teams, 4 and 6 ATS, one step further, remove the 3 ranked G5 teams that they played, BYU in 2022 here in Vegas, Army and Navy last year. They covered all 3 of those games. They were up for those games. The other 7, 1 and 6 ATS with 2 outright losses. I say that, though, to say this. Notre Dame's not overlooking Boise State. No way. Boise State is a premier G5 program. As we all know, there's no way the Irish are overlooking them. But I think Boise State might be feisty. However, the hook just appeared at Circa. Money continues to pile in here on the Irish. Also in that 3:30 window, Virginia at Louisville. Once again, folks, tell your friends, if/when Louisville wins, and we hope Louisville wins, this is not an upset. Yes, Virginia is 24th, but don't listen to some folks on television. Listen to me. This is not an upset. Louisville's a touchdown favorite in this game. I think Louisville wins. I gave it out on the podcast earlier this week. Very tricky spot for Virginia coming off of that monumental win over Florida State. So there you have it. A look at the big games. Also, late night tonight, Texas A&M, Mississippi State. Market continues to come in on Giga Maggie. I think this is a really tricky spot for Mississippi State. I think you could see blowout potential on the SEC network at 7:30. Could we see a blowout in the early window with Wisconsin taking on Michigan? Our good friend Ian Fitzsimmons will join us next, live from the Big House on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
It was a doubleheader in August and really hot inside the concession stand. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I figured I'd walk around yelling, "Hot dogs here!" And that's how I became the first hot dog vendor in sports.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The Village Tavern's been a beloved local landmark in Hubbard, Ohio for nearly a century, and now it's better than ever. Recently renovated and still serving up the same warm hospitality, the Village Tavern is your go-to spot for great food, cold drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. Whether you're stopping in for dinner, catching up with friends, or just looking to relax, you'll enjoy a full menu of American favorites, rotating drink specials, and friendly service that makes every visit memorable. Be sure to visit the Village Tavern at 746 North Main Street in Hubbard, right next to Repair That Glass. To learn more, go to villagetavern3.com.
Your home for PAFL football is the iMedia1 Network. Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast, Youngstown, Ohio.
The search feature to find coverage on your favorite teams, matchups, and sport. Exclusively for VSiN Pro subscribers, download the VSiN Watch app today on the App Store or Google Play and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
Hey, this is Grace Remington for VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Alex Ovechkin sits at 897 career goals, chasing number 900. He's usually quick to 3 goals. Only once in 5 seasons has it taken him more than 7 games to get there. He faces tough goalies early, but keep an eye on games 4 through 6 against Tampa, Minnesota, and Vancouver. That's where you want to bet on the milestone moment. Get VSiN Pro to receive daily best bets, live video, betting tools, and more now through the Super Bowl for 40% off. Use code GRACE at VSiN.com/subscribe.
VSiN's college football tailgate show, right here on VSiN, the sports betting network, where you get your winners.
We'll check in behind the counter coming up in 15 minutes. I'm Tim Murray, live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. I am fired up for our next guest. He's been joining us throughout the season, and normally he joins us from the comfy confines of his hotel room before he goes onto the sidelines for ESPN Radio. But today he said, let's make this happen. Let's go live, and to utilize the words of Brent Musburger, who helped create this network, we are looking live at Ian Fitzsimmons at the Big House, and it looks hot as hell. Ian, what is going on? It's October 4th.
What? First of all, I remember to bring earbuds for you.
Thank you.
So I'm shocked at that one, but I forgot sunglasses for my own sorry butt. So yeah, it's hot. I was expecting to see breath. Well, we got to sign this game about a month ago. I'm going, sweet. All right, I got to have a nice suit, pink shirt for October, right? Breast cancer awareness. Lael Edwards, love you. And then next thing you know, you look at the weather report, and I'm bringing another throwaway shirt. This damn thing will not make it home. It'll stay in the rental car. So here we are. We're going to sweat again today here at the Big House.
All right,
I'm stunned. Stunned. Come on, let's go. Let's talk the ball.
Let's get to this game, Ian, because you're on the call, so you're not going to make a pick, but I want you to give us some insight on this particular game. Are we surprised at the news that it won't be Danny O'Brien there on the sideline or on the under center for Wisconsin? They're going to go with Hunter Simmons. What should we expect from the new Wisconsin quarterback?
I was just talking to Wisconsin coaches about Hunter Simmons, and they said he's got some pop in his arm, and he's very even-keeled. Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. And look, Edwards shouldn't have played against Maryland, let's be honest. And O'Neal's been banged up, so they're down to their third quarterback. But that's the way he was described, to be very even-keeled and pop in the arm. But it's not just about Hunter Simmons playing. It's also up front. They really haven't been able to block it. Against Middle Tennessee State, they're having to run jet sweeps and reverses. And this is a Wisconsin team. When was the last time you were able to say that they can't block it up front? So not only that, Renfro, their starting center, is out. They're bringing their backup right tackle, Davis Heinsohn, to center, who's never played center before. The last time he played center was at Central Michigan in spring ball a couple years ago. So against that Michigan defensive front, and everything I described to you, it's going to be up to that Wisconsin run defense, which, by the way, is one of the best in all of college football. So that's the matchup. You have Wisconsin's run defense to keep them in this game against that vaunted Michigan rushing attack led by Justice Haynes, who started the country in toting it. So that's the part that it's going to be exciting to watch. Wisconsin's run D against that rushing attack. It's Michigan because, look, man, that Wisconsin offense right now, it's banged up.
Let's go to Michigan, as we're talking to Ian Fitzsimmons, who is there at Michigan. He'll be on the national radio call later today of Michigan taking on Wisconsin. How impressive is Bryce Underwood?
Man, he's right over here where he was. Where'd he go? I mean, dude, he's a specimen. And he was just chucking. And 19 is pretty, man. I mean, he's everything you want a quarterback, and he's very grounded. We've all heard about the money and everything else, but watching him in pregame, he's on an autograph. He's one of the first guys on the field. And then there's some kids in the stands, and he says, I promise you I'll be back after the game. There's no doubt in my mind he will. As an 18-year-old, he just gets it. And he's getting better and better every week. As you know, Tim, I talked to the same 3 NFL scouts getting ready for games every single week. And he's coming up organically in conversation already as to how much better his game is improving every single week. He just gets it. He's going to be a star.
Ian Fitzsimmons, ESPN Radio, national call, Michigan and Wisconsin. There he is. Big house. It's filling in right now. Beautiful day.
Right there. There he is.
There he is.
That man. There he is. Right there. There he is. Here we go. What we got?
So we can't get a pick from you on this game. So we need picks. So let's go to Cincinnati and Iowa State. I've discussed this game already, so I will not lead the witness. What do you make of Cincinnati and Iowa State, which will be going on the same time as your game, Michigan and Wisconsin?
The moment this number came out, Tim, I'm going, this one reeks. Somebody out there in those big buildings where you are knows something that I don't. Cincinnati favored over number 14 and undefeated Iowa State. Give me my Skyline Chili 3-way, right? I'm going Cincinnati -1. I'm going Nippert. Let's go, boys. Get it done for me today. Also, I promise you, Tim, if this doesn't happen, we're done. I'm breaking up with them. And I got it at 6. I don't know where it is right now at Circa, but give me the Gators plus the 6. Texas wins. Gators keep it close. I promise you, if it doesn't come through today, I'm done with the Florida Gators. Kirk Herbstreit's dad was a former captain at Ohio State, coached under Woody Hayes. He would pronounce the state of Kentucky as Keon-tucky. Well, for the pride of Centerville, hey, Mr. Herbstreit, rest in peace. He's looking down at us. Give me Keon-tucky plus the 20 against Georgia. Because, hey, when you're coming out of a physical game like that, you're going to be down a little bit, and your body's not feeling right until probably Wednesday or Thursday. Georgia wins, Kentucky keeps it close. And then give me the Noles plus the 4. That bad boy is going to be also on ABC tonight.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Hey, I was anticipating you to have the fall foliage. Instead, you're going to be dealing with the summer heat there at the big house. Ian, have a great call.
Here. I feel sweat going down the small of my back right now as we speak. I'm not kidding. Thank God for Under Armour heat gear, because that sweat goes right to your socks.
And just think, you're going to be freezing your butt off in about 6 weeks there.
Look at this. Look at this scene here. Look at this. Come on, man. It's a big house. Let's go.
Doesn't get better than that. Ian, you're the man. Appreciate you making it work for us. And leave that shirt in the rental car. Your wife does not want that back in the house.
Hey, whoever sitting next to me on the plane, I'm sorry.
There he is, Ian Fitzsimmons, our good friend, live from the big house. Oh, man, doesn't get much better than that. So to run through his plays, he likes Cincinnati, Florida, Kentucky, and Florida State. A lot of commonality, and I like it. Ian, once again, embracing the stink a little bit, right? We like to say that regarding that Cincinnati game. Cincinnati, why are they the favorite here against Iowa State? Well, we told you why. We look at the injuries and where this Cincinnati team currently sits. But really good stuff there, live from the big house. One of the great scenes in all of college football. Wisconsin taking on this Michigan team. And, I thought he made a really good point, and it's worth noting here. I'm not really excited to lay 17 and a half at Michigan, but could we look at a Wisconsin team total under? They're going to be shifting their backup right tackle to center. And he has not played center since, as Ian pointed out, in spring when he was with Central Michigan. And they're going with Hunter Simmons at the quarterback position. Now, Hunter Simmons, a guy that Ian pointed out, coaches are excited about, have some pop in the arm. Man, this is going to be a tough one for Wisconsin to get the ball going. It's kind of funny, too, when you look at how you set yourself up preseason and where you're at now, right? Because for me, I took a Wisconsin under 5.5 wins, and I don't really necessarily need this result to have Michigan cover. I'm just good with Michigan losing this game, and as a 17-point underdog, when you look at the live dogs today, I don't know if I consider Wisconsin one of them. We talked about Sunbelt Billy Napier. Is this Billy Napier's last stand at Florida? Luke Fickell, man, look at the schedule real quickly for Wisconsin. And I raise my hand when I'm wrong. When Luke Fickell was hired by Wisconsin, I was like, home run. That is a great, great addition by Wisconsin. Well, here we are, and Luke Fickell very much entrenched on the hot seat, and this is going to be a very challenging situation to overcome when you look at, here's their schedule moving forward. Michigan today, 17-point underdog. Iowa, Ohio State, Oregon. That might be the toughest month of October any team in college football faces. Then in November, don't worry, it lightens up. Washington, Indiana, Illinois, and then the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe, Minnesota. If this team gets to bowl eligibility, it would be a miracle, especially with the injuries that they're dealing with. So once again, Hunter Simmons, the grad transfer from Southern Illinois, the Saluki, is getting the start today for Wisconsin. Great stuff from Ian Fitzsimmons. Once again, he also is on Florida, and he said, this is it. I'm out on Sunbelt Billy if he does not get it for us on this one. And I would agree. Billy Napier, is he the head coach of Florida if they're not competitive today? Do we see a situation like we saw with Sam Pittman this past weekend with Arkansas getting blown out, and then they go out and they fire Sam Pittman? Bobby Petrino Hashtag neck brace comes in, and he ultimately fires that defensive staff. Taking a look at the betting board real quickly, we're starting to see some Georgia love come into the betting market. It was down to 19, now market-wide 20 and 20.5. So some favorite love coming in, but as Ian said, he likes Kentucky off of that spot. Thinks it's a bit of a letdown here for Georgia. Who will be the most popular play of the week? Chuck Esposito, he'll join us. We'll go behind the counter. We'll run through the betting board. Where is the money flowing in at the station's casino? And can, for a sixth time this year, the most public play be wrong? We'll ask that to Chuck Esposito of Stations Casino next.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's
what I
important
know
to you?
about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, we'll figure it out."
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Look through your children's eyes to see the true magic of a forest. It's a storybook world for them. You look and see a tree. They see the wrinkled face of a wizard with arms outstretched to the sky. They see treasure in pebbles. They see a windy path that could lead to adventure. And they see you, their fearless guide through this fascinating world.
Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the...
This is Matt Lipsack, the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms, and your home for Phantoms hockey is Western Reserve Radio.
Learn the game and know the odds. Play with trusted legal operators. And if you need help, reach out. If you're getting in on the action, visit haveagameplan.org to learn more.
Countdown to kickoff is the final word before the NFL games begin on Sunday. Join Jonathan Von Tobel and Stormy Bonatoni each week as they preview the day's games and discuss the latest odds and money movement with Circa CEO Derek Stevens. Warren Sharp joins the show and takes us through his picks and sharp analysis for the games. For all the latest news, injuries, odds, and lineup changes, tune in to Countdown to Kickoff every Sunday from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
VSiN's college football tailgate show, right here on VSiN, the sports betting network, where you get your winners.
Man, it's been a fun show so far. Thanks to Ian Fitzsimmons for joining us. And just a reminder, folks, we got a 40% off special going on over at vsin.com. You get everything we have to offer. Use the promo code TAILGATE for that 40% off. Daily best bets, betting splits, all the tools that you need to become a successful bettor. vsin.com/subscribe. Get all our bets as well. So check those out over at vsin.com. I'm Tim Murray, live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. So thanks to Ian Fitzsimmons for giving us some time on the sidelines there at the Big House, as he is on the call of Wisconsin and Michigan coming up later today. How public will that game be? We will ask that question. Let's get those answers right now, as we always do at this spot. Let's go behind the counter.
Where are the lines changing? And where's the money going? Let's go behind the counter.
All right, Chuck Esposito joins us as he does each and every Saturday. We go behind the counter with Chuck, who is the race and sportsbook director at the Red Rock Casino here in Las Vegas, part of the Stations Casino Group. And he's been giving us the answers to the test. You just have to listen, boys and girls. 4-1 if you fade the most popular play at Stations. But I will say, the popular dog, which I am one to tend to fade, did come home last week, as he let us know over 70% of tickets were on Oregon. And, of course, Oregon won the game outright. So, Chuck, I've got a couple of guesses. Now, before we get to the main one, you did let me know that the most lopsided ticket count is UNLV. So let's dive into that real quickly. UNLV's at Wyoming. You're a local shop. You are, only available in the state of Nevada, so it feels like the locals are jumping in on the Rebs up there in Laradice today.
Yeah, first, it's great to be on with you as always, Timmy. It's an unusual game because the ticket count really does favor UNLV. It's 89% in favor of the Rebels, but that's not necessarily how the money's come in on that game. We opened the game 4.5, has been as high as 5.5, but now the number sits at 3.5. So you can tell that action a little bit has been on Wyoming. Over the last 3 years, Wyoming has won a game outright in Laramie, being a 3.5-point underdog or greater. So maybe a tougher spot for UNLV. But our locals are backing the Throwing Rebels big time today in a 4 o'clock our time start.
I just want to point this out. I mentioned it on the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast. We just had Ian Fitzsimmons on, who's sweating his rear end off at Michigan. It's going to be hot there in Michigan. It will not be hot in Laramie. It'll be windy. It'll be rainy. It'll be mid-40s. So some crappy weather up there in Laradice. All right. So you mentioned to me, you gave me a little bit of a hint. You said two of the most lopsided ticket counts are in the one's in the early window and one's in the afternoon. I'm looking at the early window, and I've got two guesses, but I'm going to go with Illinois as a very popular play. How close am I on the most lopsided count in the early window being Illinois over Purdue?
Illinois is one of them, but it's not the biggest one. Do you want to? I'll give you one more guess.
All right. Georgia?
Nope. It's Navy. Navy against Air Force. 83% of the tickets are on Navy in that game. And you look at the game itself. We opened 9.5. We are at our highest number right now at 13.5. So not only ticket count, but money clearly favors Navy in this game. And I think you look at these two schools and kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum right now. Navy undefeated, Air Force 1-3. I know it's a big rivalry game, but the betting public is clearly backing the midshipmen in this 9 o'clock our time kickoff.
Oh, wow. Man, that was not high on my list. But Navy off to a great start. They're undefeated. Air Force, obviously, defense optional right now after giving up 44 last week to Hawaii, 49 to Boise State 2 weeks ago. So 83% of bets laying it with the Navy midshipmen in the early window, the first leg of the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. I do want to circle back to the Illinois game because it does look like market-wide, that sandwich spot, the money, at least the sharp guys seem to be looking at the Boilermakers. 7's now starting to show up across the market. Where are you guys on a ticket count for Illinois-Purdue?
Yeah, it's one of those games where the game has come down dramatically, but the ticket count does favor the Illini in this game. Not great, but it's 59% of the tickets are on Illinois. We haven't gotten to that 7 yet. We're still above that plateau, but the number has dropped almost 3 points since we put this game up last week.
Chuck Esposito giving the latest from behind the counter, as he does each and every week here. So Navy, 83%. Let's go to the 3:30 Eastern window. I'm curious. I'm looking at the board here and wondering who the public would love. I want to go to Florida, Texas. This number is under a touchdown. Can't imagine many of your bettors are excited to take less than a touchdown. I took 7 earlier this week with Florida in what we're deeming Sunbelt Billy's last stand. What are we looking like from a ticket count on Texas, Florida?
Yeah, this is actually the game, Timmy. This is the one up there with Navy. 82% of the tickets are on Texas in this game. Kind of a weird game, though, because here, too, even though the ticket count favors Texas, we opened this game 7. It ping-ponged back and forth between 6.5 and 7 early in the week, but it now sits at its lowest number of the week, with Texas being a 5-point favorite, but 82% of the tickets, again, are on Texas in this game.
All right, staying in that window, Vanderbilt is a team that loves the underdog role. We've talked about it a bunch. Diego Pavia is 10-2 ATS as an underdog at Vanderbilt. Even better when you go back to his time at New Mexico State. So I'm curious if that moves over to the public betting here for this particular game, because Alabama coming off a massive win against Georgia, but they did lose to Vanderbilt. Do we have a public dog situation brewing with Vanderbilt at Alabama? What do your numbers say for Alabama-Vanderbilt?
Well, a little bit money-wise. I think you look at the ticket count, and it's not crazy at all. It's 55% of the tickets on Bama, 45 on Vandy. The number has come down. We sit at 11.5 right now. The highest it's been, I think, was 13.5. So it definitely has come down. But you look at Vandy, 5-1 against the number their last 6 games, but just 1-4 against the number the last 5 times they've played Alabama. Alabama 5-0 against the number their last 5 games at home. So it's not a huge decision. Ticket count, as I said, is kind of two-way on this game, and that's because Vandy's played so good and they're so talented offensively. And really, Bama, I think that's been a little bit of their Achilles heel this year. So I think you'll see a lot of points scored in this game as well.
Chuck Esposito, once again, giving us the latest from behind the counter, as he does each and every week. Go and check out the Red Rock Casino, part of the Stations Casino Group. Love checking out the Red Rock there in Summerlin. Chuck, I'm looking at your app right now, and it's almost like your bettors and the market have tomorrow's paper with this Notre Dame-Boise State game. This has moved almost a full touchdown here. Look, as a Notre Dame fan, I'm always skeptical. I don't love this Boise State team, but I'm seeing a 22 now at Stations, 21.5 across the market. Man, it is just nonstop Notre Dame love on this game.
It is, and you're right. I don't love Boise either. This isn't the same Boise team that we've seen over the last several years, and I think that's why. It's a Notre Dame team now that needs to keep winning, but not only keep winning, but win impressively. It wasn't quite as high as the ticket counts I talked about on Navy and Texas, but still 78% of the tickets are on the Irish. But more so than that, the money is extremely lopsided in favor of the Irish. We are huge Boise fans for this afternoon's kickoff.
Wow. All right. Yeah. I mean, look, I've said this before. I bet Boise plus 21. I didn't think it would go any higher, and now it's at 21.5, 22. But I would never be more thrilled to lose a bet if Notre Dame wins 90-0. I'll happily
win your bet though today, Timmy. I really want you to win your bet.
Look, if Notre Dame wants to win by 20 and a late touchdown from Boise State, so I don't have to sweat anything, good. Let's make that happen. I do want to hit on the Miami and Florida State game, because it feels like we've gotten some love, at least from a sharp standpoint, on Florida State. I would imagine that doesn't correlate over to the ticket count. What has this game been bet like so far? Miami at Florida State.
Not crazy. Miami, 62% of the tickets are on Miami, 38% are on Florida State. And I think, you look at this game, it lost maybe a little bit of its luster with Florida State getting beat. But it's an interesting match. I mean, I like the total in this game. You look at 14 of Miami's last 20 games have gone over, yet they're just 5-10 straight up on their last 15 games against Florida State. So number sits at, kind of the lowest we've been all week. But it's hard to say who we're going to need at kickoff right now, but I think we're still going to be Florida State fans when this game kicks. But again, about 63% of the tickets on Miami in this one.
He is Chuck Esposito, always joins us every Saturday from the Red Rock Casino there in Summerlin here in Las Vegas. Appreciate you as always, Chuck, and we'll talk next week.
All right, Tim. Sounds great. Good luck today.
There he is, Chuck Esposito, Races Sportsbook Director at the Red Rock Casino. So 89% of bets on UNLV. Now, as Chuck mentioned, that's a little bit different than everywhere else in the country because they are a Nevada-based shop, a Las Vegas-based shop. Navy, 83% of bets. And Texas, hook 'em horns, 82% of bets. We'll wrap things up. Final thoughts, best bets, send you on your way on what has been a great show and getting you ready for a great Saturday. It is the VSiN College Football Tailgate Show.
$5,000. That's the
people been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Councel.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and when I want to catch up with Youngstown sports, I tune in to Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
With breathtaking panoramic views and an unforgettable atmosphere, it's the perfect setting for any occasion. Legacy Club Rooftop Cocktails. Reserve your spot today at circalasvegas.com.
Join Matt Brown and Mike Somich on Ready, Set, Bet as they get you ready to make your bets for all the weekend games.
Touchdown, baby! George Pickens, we're in! We live! Well, I don't know. We could still lose.
This Colts team is 100% legit, Matt. Well, the offense is 100% legit.
Don't miss out on crucial advice for live betting once the game starts, as well as looking ahead to the upcoming action. Tune in to Ready, Set, Bet, weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the sports betting network.
You're watching VSiN's College Football Tailgate Show right here on VSiN, the sports betting network, where you get your winners.
Just a reminder, folks, before the line moves, the sharp plays are already there. They don't just follow the market, they help move it. You're not going to outsmart billion-dollar sports books or full-time sharps on your own, but with sharp plays, you don't have to. This isn't a weekend hobby for them. Since 2011, Sharp Plays have delivered documented results, public logs, and transparent receipts. SharpPlays.com, trusted by pros, watched by the books. I'm Tim Murray, wrapping things up here on the VSiN College Football Tailgate Show. Thanks to everyone who's joined us. Paul Stone joined us here in studio. Parker Fleming, Stormy Bonatoni, Ian Fitzsimmons live on the sidelines at the Big House. And just a moment ago, Chuck Esposito letting us know the locals here in Vegas love UNLV this week. 89% of bets, 83% of tickets on Navy against Air Force, and then Texas, 82% of bets on the Texas Longhorns. Some big ones today, and I think, maybe not the biggest game of the day. I think Miami, Florida State is the most intriguing game of the day, but certainly a lot of intrigue in the SEC today. Vanderbilt on the road at Alabama. First time in the 87-year history of this rivalry, both teams will be ranked. Vanderbilt off to a 5-0 start for the first time since 2008. And, of course, last year they knocked off Alabama when they were the number one team in the country. Their head coach is Clark Lee. Let's hear from the head Commodore before today's Alabama game.
Excited for the week. The team's excited. You know, obviously, we've earned the right to play in a big game, and we get a great stage to do it on. And you know, Alabama's a really good team. They're an improved team from a year ago. I feel like I see a change in identity in them. Quarterback's playing really well. They're possessing the ball on offense. Defensively, they're more multiple than they were a year ago. Seem to be going further down the call sheet and having success that way. And they have good players. They're doing a good job of positioning those guys to have success. So it'll be a great challenge for us. But, you know, we obviously love our team, and we understand it's a chance for our program to go down and to play to our best, and it will be about us. That's how we see it. You know, we need to go and play our game, not get caught up in the environment. It should be a great atmosphere for college football. You know, not get caught up in the externals around the game, but simply focus on playing good football.
Like your quarterback saying that it's not going to be a close game if they play their game. That's what Diego Pavia said earlier this week. Right now, looking at Alabama and Vanderbilt, 12.5, the number market-wide, some 12s out there, so a little bit of money coming in on Alabama. We've said it a number of times. It's Sunbelt Billy's last stand. Ian Fitzsimmons taking the Gators, chomp, chomp. I'm on the Gators. Took the 7 earlier this week. Can they hold on for dear life against the Texas Longhorns? 82% of bets, as we just heard, at Stations Casino here in Vegas, on the Longhorns. And the head coach of Texas, coming off that bye, is Steve Sarkisian.
Obviously, a very difficult place to play, a place that has been known around the country as one of the more difficult places to play. They've been playing great defensive football all year, and they've got explosive playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. And you know, they've just been off the mark a little bit offensively, but it's not for lack of players, and it's not for lack of scheme. You know, Billy's a great coach. He's going to scheme us up. So we've got to be prepared to go, and we got to be great on special teams. They've got an elite kicker. They've got an elite punt returner in Brown. And so this is going to take all three phases, you know, playing at a high level. And that starts at the line of scrimmage with the offensive and defensive lines. And then our speed guys need to play fast. And so we've got our work cut out for us that way, but definitely looking forward to the opportunity and looking forward to kicking off SEC play.
Hasn't been a great start for Texas. They lose the season opener. Since then, San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, kind of underwhelming, but they get to take on a Florida team that has struggled mightily offensively. 11 points per game for Florida over the last 3 games against USF, LSU, and Miami. DJ Lagway, 5 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. The total has seen some money come in on the under. I would look first half under in this game if you can get a 21. At under 7, not in love with it, but still love Florida. Still like Florida, excuse me. Don't love them. Still like Florida a little bit here in this one. Dallas Wilson expected to make his debut as a Florida Gator, but Texas getting some good news health-wise as Quintravion Wisner and Emmett Mosley both expected to play in this game. Notre Dame and Boise State, 2 teams that made the college football playoff a year ago. I think you could say this game's an elimination game. If Notre Dame loses, kiss the playoff goodbye for sure. If Boise State loses, that's 2 losses. The American has a bunch of good teams. So Marcus Freeman, his team, 56 against Purdue, 56 against Arkansas. The offense is humming right now for Marcus Freeman and company. And I tell you what, the betting market's humming too. This number up to 21.5 in favor of the Irish. Let's hear from their head coach, Marcus Freeman, before their showdown with Boise State.
You think about the history of Boise State, and, somebody told me it's the 2nd winningest program since 2000 in college football. I mean, that's a credit of a program. And then, Spencer Danielson, I have a chance to meet him. I think he's 18-4 in his years, and I met him in a couple of the the coaching award things that I attended, and I just got a lot of respect for him as a person and what he stands for, and obviously the job he's done as the leader of that program. Their offense is explosive. They've averaged about 500-plus yards in 4 games, and I always say it starts with that quarterback. They got a good quarterback that's experienced, that's tough, gritty, takes care of the ball. So it'll be a good challenge for our defense again. And then their defense is a high-pressure attacking unit. Like, we'll see more pressure if they continue to do what they've done than we've seen all year. It's going to be a great challenge for us to protect our quarterback.
All right, that leads us into our plays of the week. Gave these out on Thursday on the VSiN College Football Betting Podcast. Get that podcast wherever you get your podcasts, also on YouTube as well. I took the points with Boise State, ladies and gentlemen, and just picture me as Samuel L. Jackson in Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts, and hopefully I don't get eaten by a raptor as well. Boise State, plus 21. Didn't get the best of the number because now it's 21.5, 22 out there, but Boise State just tends to play well in these games. I think Notre Dame's going to be ready to go. And when you're playing that offense, it's not an enjoyable endeavor betting against it. As a fan, I'm enjoying it very much so. But can Boise State have some success against that Notre Dame defense? So Boise State, a best bet for me. Sometimes you get the best of it. Sometimes you get the worst of it. Fortunately, we got the best of these next 2 numbers. Purdue plus 10. That number down to 7. Woo! What could go wrong? Closing line value, baby. Purdue, loved the situational spot, circled it over the summer, actually had a listener to the podcast, Swycat Sides, tweeted me back in June and said, look at this situation brewing in West Lafayette. Illinois will have played Indiana, USC, Ohio State next, right in the middle, Purdue off of their bye. Let's go Purdue, boil her up. Keep this thing competitive. Florida, all right, ugly dog situation here. Florida plus the 7. Cal, late night. Hopefully the Golden Bears can do what they did for us a couple weeks ago against Minnesota. So Cal plus the 3. We got to have some late night action. Cincinnati, I would say, and these are famous last words. I think this is my favorite play of the week. Cincinnati on the money line, find the cheapest price out there. I want to double check where the cheapest price is right now. Cincinnati and Iowa State. Right now, the cheapest money line, minus 122 at DraftKings. So I like the Bearcats here in this spot. And then a money line parlay of Louisville and Alabama. Don't know what the price is at now. It's gone up a little bit, but really like Louisville in this spot. It just once again, clarification. When Louisville beats Virginia today, it is not an upset. Yes, Virginia is 24th and Louisville is unranked. Louisville's a 7-point favorite. So it's not an upset. Louisville is a touchdown favorite going into this game. Backfield getting a little bit healthier for the Louisville Cardinals as well. And Alabama, I don't want to lay the chalk. I'm a little tempted to. I do have Alabama in the Westgate Super Contest as one of my plays at minus 10.5. But I will put that together as a money line parlay. Excited for today, though, folks. It's going to be a great day. And just a reminder, our best bets here at VSiN, always brought to you by our friends over at G-Bank. G-Bank is built with sports bettors in mind. Right now, you can earn a 50% cashback reward bonus once you're approved for your account. And your account is open with the G-Bank Visa Signature credit card. So while most credit cards treat sportsbook and gaming transactions as cash advances, even when it's your own money, G-Bank treats them as regular purchases. That means no cash advance fees, saving you up to 3 to 5% on every deposit. Plus, you'll earn 1% cash back on all eligible sportsbook and gaming transactions, 2% cash back on everything else you buy. Apply now, vsin.com/GBank, VSIN.com/G. Bank. Make sure you check out all the bets over at vsin.com/picks, including all of them from the Circa Friday Football Invitational. Should be an awesome day of college football, and our coverage continues up next with Live Bet Saturday, hosted by Ben Stevens. I'm Tim Murray. Thanks to everyone who joined it. Thanks to everyone behind the production side as well. This has been the VSiN College Football Tailgate Show.
Find what you love what you find, a total wine and more.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Are you tired of switching apps just to catch your favorite shows and live events? Say hello to the iMedia1 Network app, your one-stop destination for streaming and everything that matters. From national sports to exclusive local content, Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast are now all in one place, anytime, anywhere. Download the free iMedia1 Network app on iOS and Android and unlock the future of sports audio in the palm of your hand. The iMedia1 Network, your sports app in the Valley.
The stations that always keep you in the zone.
I love it.
It's awesome.
Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast, Youngstown, Ohio.
The $1 million views at our rooftop lounge, Legacy Club. Go big and go all night with our luxurious rooms and suites. Book the time of your life today at circalasvegas.com.
Sean Green and Ryan Kramer bring an energetic approach to sports betting to keep you entertained while sweating your bets on the Sports Gambling Podcast Live at VSiN.
When I watch this Dolphins team and you hear the players talk, you hear the coach talk, it just seems like it's not working.
Thank you, Peloton, for helping Jordan Davis lose enough weight to be able to hit 18 miles an hour.
Join Sean and Ryan every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Sports Gambling Podcast Live at VSiN, right here on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Live Bet Saturday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It is the first Saturday in October. It is week number 6 of the 2025 college football season. As we say hello and welcome to Live Bet Saturday right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I am Ben Stevens. What a Saturday it is to open up a new month in CFB. We've got 10 games kicking off as we speak at noon Eastern time to get you ready for our 6th full Saturday of this 2025 campaign. Jared Smith will join us in just a little bit live from downtown Las Vegas inside the Circus Sportsbook. And together we have you covered for the entirety of this early window up until 3 p.m. Eastern time. We've got some great games that dot the docket all Saturday long. Only 2 ranked versus ranked, top 25 tilts, one in the afternoon hours in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It is number 10, Alabama, and number 16, Vanderbilt. It is the first time since 1937 that Alabama football and Vanderbilt football will face off in a top 25 ranked versus ranked matchup. We will get you ready for that game in T-Town a little bit later on, and a renewal of the Sunshine State rivalry between Miami and Florida State. A top 20 collision tonight at Doak Campbell in Tallahassee. The first time that FSU and Miami have played each other as ranked opponents since 2016. The first time this has been a top 20 game since 2013 in a history between these two in-state rivals that often was a top 10 matchup. But those games later on, as we shared, noon Eastern time, it all gets going for this week 6 Saturday slate. We've got 4 ranked teams in action from the very jump. Conference affair in the Southeastern Conference. Kentucky and Georgia. How will Kirby Smart and his dogs bounce back after taking the loss at home inside Sanford Stadium between the hedges last week to Alabama? You see what the market is expecting. A 20-point spread in favor of UGA. But earlier in the week, closer to 3 touchdowns. Some of that sharp money on the Cats as the dog, at least expecting to keep this game relatively competitive, maybe within 2 touchdowns and a field goal. A lot of sharp money has made that line now 19.5 as we get ready for kick in just a matter of moments in Athens, Georgia. That's an SEC affair. How about a huge Big 12 battle that is about to start inside historic Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio? It's the Bearcats, the unranked team, with a dramatic come-from-behind victory last week on the road at Kansas to be in this spot. They have won 4 consecutive games since losing the season opener at Arrowhead against Nebraska. And an ever so slight home favorite, just a couple of cents, a dime as you see it there on the money line, as the Bearcats host number 14, Iowa State. The Cyclones perfect, undefeated, 5-0. Iowa State in pole position to make a run at a Big 12 championship game for a second consecutive season. Yet the ranked team is the slight road underdog, and a ton of the sharp money at Circa on Cincinnati, about 74% of that betting handle at last check. That's one of my best bets for this early window. A ton of sharp money on the over of that total that opened at 51.5. It has screeched its way up to 55 or 55 in a hook. I jumped in early this week, got the over at 54. I am trusting 2 tremendously talented quarterbacks in Cincy's Brendan Sorsby, the highest ranked quarterback according to PFF through 5 weeks of this 2025 college football season, against the veteran on the other side for the Clones in Rocco Becht. Give us some points for a dramatic Big 12 games with huge ramifications on that conference championship race. From the Big 12 to a Big 10 doubleheader featuring some ranked sides. Illinois in a very tricky spot on the road in Ross-Ade in West Lafayette. Back in the day, when Purdue was coached by Jeff Brom, the Boilermakers had a certain nickname known as the Spoilermakers. They would see ranked foes come in, often not just in